Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Esports U. I'm Combo, joined here by the wonderful Soy, and today we've got a great match up for you. We're going to have Fisher White, University of Fisher White, up against University of Albany A. These teams have been raring to go. We got a little jump scare that we thought their match might be ahead before we're ready, but thankfully they're able to hold their horses for a bit longer as we're going to be hopping over to the game soon. But Soy, how are you doing today? How are you looking forward to this upcoming match?
I'm doing good. I'm excited for this one. I mean, we're a couple weeks into the season now. Both of these teams are 3-0 in regular season play, so tied with still a lot of teams in this division, but still two teams kind of still contesting to be at the top of this league. And we've seen University of Albany, a couple of their teams in the past, so this is a roster that's got a lot of depth to it. And Fisher White has been playing incredibly well. Guys like Vibes and Blue have been playing great. So it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch these two squads go at each other this week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One thing I heard in passing earlier was that Fisher White is considered to be the secondary team from the Fisher School. So them being so far 3-0 in their group, right, competing for that top spot definitely goes to show the capacity that Fisher rather has for Smash. Not entirely sure how the other team is doing currently, but I'm hoping for the best there as well. Super exciting. Always great to see top of competition putting out whatever they can. But we'll be hopping over the match pretty shortly. Not sure. What are our player rosters looking like here, Soy?
So last time we saw these rosters, Fisher White, last time it was Vibes on the Fox, who we got word will likely be one of the starters heading into the matchup coming in. JD was a Ganondorf player who was very good at sealing away stocks, especially those games where you only need to take a stock or two. He was quick to eliminate those stocks. And Blue on the Falco was a menace the last time he was on stream. So look for those three to be kind of the go-tos. I mean, it's Fisher College. They've got a lot of depth on their roster as well to kind of match University of Albany. So a certainly powerful roster to deal with. On the flip side of that, I believe last time we saw University of Albany, Danger was rocking Yoshi and Luigi on the side.
Wow.
Melly of Belmont was making a couple appearances as well. But then a couple of different players here and there. You got Wheezy, Katsuya, I believe is how you pronounce that name.
Okay.
And then DK's The Bomb 200. So a couple of different play styles between those three. A couple of projectiles in there as well. Players like Piranha Plant might be making a scene, or I should say characters
right
along those lines, along with characters like I've also got listed a Snake and Cloud in there and Isabel. So some more fast-paced matches, but also kind of that pocket of a ranged character to kind of round out the roster as well. So a lot of character diversity between these two schools as well. It's maybe similar in play styles here and there, but still a wide range of character selection between these two schools.
Yeah, loving the character diversity. And I know I kind of talked about this earlier too, but the way the collegiate scene kind of bounces off its own meta that it builds in a certain way compared to what the overarching meta is, or maybe what the meta of their region is. I know right now, for example, looks like we'll be hopping straight into the game here. We got Vibes on Fox up against Danger here on Yoshi. Going over starts off in Battlefield. I think it's an interesting stage where both characters are pretty comfortable playing into this matchup. They're not too worried. We're going to see a lot of jump in nair from both characters. They're fishing for any sort of advantage to get started here. These characters love boxing up close and brawling. I think Yoshi's got a bit of upper hand on shield pressure, especially with things like approaching with down air and keeping space with eggs, actually having proper hits done. But if Fox can find his way in, his combo game is absolutely devastating. I think this is going to be a pretty high-octane, explosive match, and there is the first forward smash to take that first stock already. Vibes is down a stock here. Already built Danger building a lead here for UAlbany. Let's see how much more percent can come by. Yoshi is known for being a monster, a percent monster especially, already up to 49%, almost looping an entire stock. Soy, this is absolutely incredible. Avalis is in there.
Yeah, right now Danger is doing a lot of work. And you were talking about how much percent Yoshi can do. It's really incredibly strong because it only feels like you get hit 2 or 3 times, and then you look at your percent and you're going, why am I at 60? And why is the forward smash so good? Finding Vibes on the platform there, and already Vibes down to their last stock, and this Yoshi at 82. Ooh, nearly dying to that up smash though. That could have been huge, but look at that, just one forward air. 26 now onto Vibes.
Right, we're seeing Vibes trying to fish for these kill options. As we've seen these up smash, there's the backwards hitbox of it too. But earlier he landed that up smash around upper 80, maybe low 90, got him up to about 100%, somewhat near the top last zone of Battlefield, but not quite. And now we got Yoshi popping off with Rage here, but ooh, tries to get a little greedy with that edge guard, as end up getting stage spiked against the Fox up special. Fox Fire, rather Firefox. He's not quite able to land there or get the stage tech, so they're able to be one stock down from UAlbany side. But I mean, Danger is in a wonderful position nonetheless here. 69% on blue, or rather on Vibes and counting. We're seeing Yoshi fishing for these forward smashes, but ooh, great setup there, catching the missed tech on the Battlefield platform, bringing them down. But huge shield damage with that down special. Vibes will not be pressing those trigger buttons for a couple more seconds at least. Wants to get up option here, trying to challenge the side B, and approaching here up against these lasers. No worry at all. Reaching for those up smashes, call him Fox, and down goes Vibes. Danger builds here a 2-stock lead for UAlbany over Fisher. Wow.
Yeah, that was impressive. And there's something to be said too. Vibes really did try and adapt and change the pace of the game entirely on that last stock. Once they find that first stock, they tried to slow the game down because it felt like every trade at that point is going to go in Yoshi's favor. And we talked about it, the damage Yoshi can do just by stringing together a few hits here and there. It just skyrockets you. And on a character like Fox, you will die to that up smash very quickly. And like you saw, if it doesn't work the first time, try again. And they're able to do so in a 2-stock lead. Very impressive to kick off the day for University of Albany.
For sure, for sure. Hit him with the classic whiff a move, go for it again. They'll never see it coming. The no mix-up is beautiful. Me, myself, being a sortie player, I like to use counter a lot, a little too excessively. But sometimes you whiff the first counter, go for a second one, they don't see it coming. They don't see it coming. I always love seeing these almost mashy panic situations type, just put out options, look for something like when we had Vibes on the kind of on the back foot, right? 2 stocks behind, fishing for that one more stock. We saw him throwing out up smashes left and right. He was hitting late hits, he was hitting backward hits, he was getting all the weird janky hitbox proportions of that up smash because he was pressing it left and right, but not able to land the most important hit, and instead pick up the kill with a Firefox off ledge instead, which is just, you know, a product of greed really from Danger's end. But nonetheless, you know, both these brawling characters, I already knew we were going to be in for a crazy game there. So Danger's going to walk away with the Yoshi, and now I am very curious to see how you want to counter pick a character like Yoshi. I think sorties is good, keeping range is good, but also speed is good. Generally, disjoints and speed are good things to have in this game, so I'll probably be saying it a lot for most matchups. But in this case particular, I think disjoints is definitely the game to go for. Yoshi does have fast boxing up close, so that's why you don't let him get too close. And then the rest of his aerials, you can be able to space out pretty well. Alternatively, you just want to outspeed him and run circles around him. He's not the fastest, both in frame data and in move speed. So, you know, your options are there. Yoshi's definitely a beatable character, despite how good he still is in a game like Ultimate. Always a great matchup checker for sure. People are not expecting the down air, not expecting the down special, not expecting the egg pressure with up special. He's just he's a unique character. He's an odd character, and people can get mad at him. It feels like sometimes you're getting a little like, why is everything flowing together? Why can he nair into me to forward tilt? Why am I getting up air 3 times? You know, and why am I dying to forward smash at 75 or 80? Why is my shield broken off of one move? You know, it's just like, yeah, there's a lot of things you got to worry about with Yoshi. So I don't know how experienced people are in this matchup, but I think of the matchup checker type characters, he is still a bit more common because the other character's still good, and you know, good characters tend to get played more than maybe not as good characters. So ultimately, the math is still going to add up, and there's still going to be a good amount of people that know what they're doing up against Yoshi. So we'll just have to wait and see what Fisher has to deal with this 2-stock monster that Danger's presenting himself with right now.
It's one of those cases where Yoshi is an older character at the end of the day, so you kind of know what somewhat to expect, right? He's like, okay, this character's up, he's not going to go that far. The recovery is that long second jump that they've got, and they don't have, and the egg takes a minute to throw, but still, like, this character, you just saw, it can really mess you up if you're not ready for it. You disrespect this character, and they can punish you so heavily. I mean, even in that match, D-Danger throwing out numerous forward smashes just as a potential read, and it almost reminds me of like the Mario step back. Like, if you disrespect the spacing of that, you can get punished very heavily for it. That is a move that hits hard. And then, like you said, the combo game off of very odd stray hits. Like, you can get back airs, you can get the up air strings and juggle with this character. That nair is extremely good. So, I mean, it's a dangerous character, and one that's one that is counter-pickable, but not necessarily in the way that you, I think, would traditionally think, because of the way that Yoshi moves around, because of the way that you have to kind of play around this character. There's also the stage picks and bans happening now, but as we get ready for the second player for the side of Fisher White, they're sending a Lucas into the battle, and I'm curious to see how this one goes, because the Lucases that we've seen in the past have really been good, and Sock'em 16 certainly living up to expectations in the past. We'll see if he can do so here against D-Danger's Yoshi.
Right, I think we're testing connection just a little bit. Maybe they want to see how the input lag is. I don't know if this could be like an actual test game. I think Yoshi's going to go for the SD, and they're going to get started. Looks like it's acceptable to both players. There's the taunt to signal it off, and we're up. So, yeah, I was talking earlier about kind of disjoints and speed. So I think Lucas might be lacking a little bit on the up-close boxing factor when it comes to speed. And his movement speed, I don't think, is that much greater than Yoshi, or poses the most significant advantage. But the disjoints can come in handy. They're not as long-lasting, and they're not as far-range as traditionally sword characters or other disjointed moves may or may not be. But, man, that was a great grab right there. You got to utilize that range. This could be a lot more both characters kind of running in and looking to get their advantage state started. Ooh, great parry on the last hit of down air, but wasn't quite able to convert too much more after the up tilt. But that's going to be such an unfortunate self-destruct as he fast falls past ledge. Doesn't use his second jump and commits to the PK Thunder when he's already off screen. No way you're seeing that Electro Ball, and he is gone. That's a 3-stock advantage here for UAlbany. Danger has taken quite a few stocks, knowingly or not. Oh, great up smash read here from Sock'em 16. That's going to take a stock there. This matchup has been odd so far. It's really been a weird tide of back and forth, but what a great advantage state here from Yoshi. Pushing up to 71% and counting.
Oh, and you can tell D-Danger really wants this next stock too. They've gotten all this percent. They're going for a lot of these forward airs. My goodness, that forward smash also almost connecting. And Lucas can die relatively early to some of these heavy hits, so Sock'em's going to have to be careful. The down B almost taking that stock as well. And D-Danger still at a very low percent here. Sock'em's got to do a lot of work, but they're not able to land. That's an up smash, and that's another stock gone. And D-Danger on this Yoshi has really done a fantastic job of not only holding this lead, but doing so much work of converting off the little openings that they're able to find.
Oh my goodness. Even that egg into forward air and just a couple more hits afterwards. There's the forward tilt and the double up air. Forward tilt's one of the weirdest combo starters I've seen on a character, but man, it looks so cool. And it's great that Yoshi has an option to work off like this. But I mean, yeah, Danger's Boot doing a great job. He pretty much brought the stocks down to even, and now actually building a lead here. There's the downer. Crazy damage, looking for one read. That forward smash is safer than you think. You really got to be up in Yoshi's face if you want to punish it. There's the attempted spot dodge, but that down special has a lot of active frames, even if they aren't all the most damaging or threatening. So you're still getting hit out, and it's still effectively resetting to neutral. There's the back here out of shield for a punish. She's going deep for potential forward air. Trying to catch the read here. Nice Zair into fair to keep Lucas safe here. Sock'em 16 trying to take this last out and keep himself safe. But Danger is looking for it. We're looking for the last hit of back here. There's a DI mishap. And Sock'em 16 is going to go down. Danger has taken out 2 entire players by himself. 1 stock lost both games. Can he keep up this trend with his final stock and potentially take on line stocks himself? Who knows? Who knows? But Danger's been on an absolute rampage, living up to the title of dinosaur that Yoshi wears.
I mean, this was so good. I mean, starting a stock down, and you were saying, you know, Lucas, not necessarily the strongest, like you were suggesting the swords or the quick counter pick, and Lucas may not necessarily have those, but the little openings that they were able to find, and Sockham, again, that early SD, I think, really hurt their momentum. I think what ended up happening was they held down to try and get to the ledge, and the fact that they were holding down means that they actually miss it. They don't actually grab it, and that fast fall ends up pushing them too low. But afterwards, I mean, just the small conversions that they were able to find, and the ground control that was what really impressed me, because it'd be very easy for Lucas to just kind of Zair or side B and use those disjoints and just poke away at this Yoshi. And yet, Danger just kept finding ways in, kept getting nairs, kept getting forward tilts into up airs. And those up airs, the percent that they do, and the knockback on top of it, they get the juggles off the back of it. All of a sudden, Sockham was no longer starting at 0. He was starting to play neutral at 60, 70%. And Yoshi, I mean, D-Danger had no fear, too, of going off stage. Even on the last stock, I mean, when you are that far ahead, why not take the risk? Why not be that much of a threat? And it paid off huge dividends there. And on that last part, like you said, a little bit of a DI mix-up, the back air catching them as they're still rolling away. So probably not DIing properly for that last one, but the work that this Yoshi has put in has built up a huge lead. And now for the University of Albany, they get that counter pick selection because they know exactly who this last player is going to be. They know exactly who this last player is going to lock in as their character. So they now have 2 chances off of whatever D-Danger gets here to try and counterpick this third and final player for the side of Fisher College.
Yeah, I mean, UAlbany's lead is just it's insane right now. It's 7 stocks to 3. It's 3 players to 1 effectively, right? Was Danger still holding on with his last stock. So it's there's so much climbing that Fisher's last player has to do here to try. And it really, you're not stopping the bleeding at this point. It's just trying to like hope for that like 2% chance you're going to live the surgery. It's really, really, really tough right now on Fisher's. And it might be more of a scope out knowledge, go next type angle. But we'll see. I don't want to call anything too early. Miracles happen. And honestly, I'd be down to see a miracle. That's always a good time. Always a good time. If you have 1 sweep and then a reverse sweep, I mean, that's really intense. And your heart sways back and forth, especially towards the end. You know, can he finish it out? Or is he finally going to get his flame snuffed out? Of course, inevitably having stocks taken against the last player too. There's all these bunch of storylines that could add up. But I mean, right now the math is not looking in Fisher College's favor. We're going to get a very combo-centric character with Falco coming in next year to deal with Danger's Yoshi. This is going to be an interesting matchup. I think this is be one of those matchups again where Falco is going to struggle a bit with his aerial speed. His moves just don't come out anywhere near as fast as Yoshi's does. But on whiff, one of grounded option that Falco's going to be going for a lot is up tilt. And if he whiffs an up tilt, he's not actually going to have too much of a problem. He's not going to necessarily get whiff punished too much. So I think Yoshi, what Yoshi does a lot to capitalize off his weird movement is to kind of drift back and whiff punish people who commit to moves that might be, you know, a lot more punishable, considering Yoshi's got the really fast nair. But Falco's one of those characters I think if you play these safer grounded options, something like that up tilt, he'll probably be fine, and that's going to mess with the game plan a little bit from Yoshi's end. And they're both going to have to play a lot of mix-ups and layer on one another. But I mean, right now, we haven't seen a single up tilt. Oh, there it is. Commentator's curse. There it is. We got the up tilt combos going. Big stuff here from Falco. Nice catch on the air dodge. Gets a downer to follow up, too, but Yoshi's going to use that side B armor to find his way out of those combos. But now it's Yoshi's turn, trying to read a bunch of percent, but Falco turned it back into his own, using that wonderful up tilt. That move really makes the character's kit work. Curious to see how the grounded neutral is going to play out here more, but honestly, they're both really sticking to the air right now. High percent here on Yoshi. It is possible for Blue to take this one stock without any stocks taken. Oh, and what a crazy read on that up smash. He sat there holding it. And Dangerous like, oh, let me try and challenge that. Bad timing. And Blue's going to walk away with all 3 of his stocks. So that's the best case scenario here for Fisher so far, right? Losing a stock to Danger right there would have been a huge blow to the potential that Fisher had to run this back. But so far, they're doing the best they can. With what they've got, they're doing the best they can. So let's see how much more Blue can really put into this. Falco is with momentum, a very great, like, carry forward type character, right? It's just combo after combo, air dodge read after air dodge read. The kill confirms can get a little dicey sometimes, but the damage will definitely be racking up. So I'm super hyped to see what they're going to try to do with Falco. Again, fast is good, disjoints are good. I'm probably going to be saying that a lot. That doesn't always work for zoners, though, so maybe I can keep that a bit out there for the next zoner match. Be like, oh, you might try something else. But yeah, I think with Falco, you can still try and have someone pull up close and box with him. Again, not all of his moves are fast. His grounded options, you have up tilt. That's his solid ground option. But you have the slower down tilt. Great knockback, like decent shield pressure, but it's a bit slow. So if you just want to run up and jab him, even chances are down tilt of your own are probably faster than his too. A lot of options, a lot of ways you can try to approach this character. He loves the air, so if you want to have great offstage gameplay, great air gameplay yourself, that'll kind of try to match. Maybe you can reverse edge guard or something like that. At least prevent yourself from getting edge guard. Always got to stay safe, right? A lot of options. So we'll see who UAlbany wants to bring in now. Finally, someone else besides Danger gets to play the game. That's a good sign. Signs of life from the rest of the team.
Yeah, and that was a huge stock for Blue to take there, because if D-Danger gets any more, that hill becomes even harder and harder for him to climb. But the fact that you get now 2 set, even though you give away the character you're going to play, and now you have to go through the whole pick and ban stage of stage selection again for the next 2 matches, at least you're starting this next one on even footing. At least you're starting it with a full 3 stocks apiece. And we've seen players many times here pull off these big reverse sweeps. They pull off 5 stocks, 6 stock swings. And with 3 stocks to play with, Blue is one of the players to kind of watch on this Fisher White squad. This Falco is very dangerous and very kind of pendulum-esque, right? You talked about the combo game. The kill confirms maybe, questionable at times, but also perfect at times. So we'll have to see how this Falco plays and what character they opt to play into that. But Blue has been really good when he's been on stream, and I think to start at least this game off on even footing is step number 1. Now, step number 2, you got to come out of this game with a W, and the Inkling is not going to make that any easier.
Yeah, we got Katyusha from UAlbany as on the Inkling. Inkling's got a lot of weird hitbox shenanigans and hurtbox shenanigans both ways, where some of her moves are going to extend a lot farther than the rest of her, so it's like almost like a pseudo disjoint. And then there's also her, going back into her squid form, dashing through ink, or just going for the ink recharge too, and suddenly she has no hurt box, and it's like, what am I doing against this character? Decently fast, overall pretty solid moves, just a solid character all around, but can also sometimes struggle with killing. And wow, this is a great combo here coming out for Blue. There's the air dodge catch from the up tilt, not able to take a kill off the top though. Ooh, there's a read on the spot dodge, gets a forward smash. Foxes can still be able to recover, as is Inkling going to find her way back to stage. There's an attempted roller, there's the up throw up air attempt. But Inkling's going to keep herself safe. We're at high percents here both ways. Even if Blue's managed to take this stock first, which he didn't, it's going to go to Katyusha. It's still a pretty even match, and that means that Blue is going to have to work really, really hard to just make it past Katyusha for 1. And beyond that, with how many stocks do you have left? It's at this close of a game, it's looking real tough.
This is a huge turning point for this match in particular, because if Blue falls again, you're down to your last stock, and already at 88% here. Blue's got to find a way to take the stock quickly. But the parry and the down tilt punish instead, and that's going to be the stock too, being able to shield that attack, and the up smash punish off the back of it is so good, so clean. Katyusha right now holding on to their 3rd stock still, and Blue, at this point, you can tell Blue is fishing a little bit for a way to take this stock here just to get themselves back into the game, but they got to be so careful because they're on their last stock, and anything that Katyusha gets here is just gravy on top.
Right. I mean, if you do the math here, it's 1 stock to 6. It's not looking too great here for Blue. Katyusha has been doing a great job of kind of capitalizing on the greed on a little bit from Blue's side, but oh my goodness, this read after read with the roller and catching the roll out, throw back in, insane damage. Oh, there's the downer off stage for a stage spike, but I mean, 2 more stocks for Katyusha to work off of. I do want to mention before, kind of like what I was saying about Falco, where he can do a pretty good job with a lot of combo strings and do a decent amount of damage. Inkling especially literally has a built-in mechanic to do excess amounts of damage, an incredible amount of damage, super quickly. Even if it doesn't always feel like she's hitting a lot of combos, her ink naturally just boosts her damage ratio such a great amount that it feels like even if you guys are effectively going even in neutral, she's pretty much winning if you're getting hit by those all that ink going on everywhere. But she's going to struggle a bit with the kill options too, unless she's able to land those rollers. Those rollers are so crucial for kill options. And we saw the punish of up smash off of side B as well, and potential edge guarding opportunities. So Inkling can definitely try and box up there too. A lot of options for Katyusha to play with. There's going to be a back throw here, and I believe it will end up taking it. And that's going to be first game for UAlbany. Katyusha takes it over Blue, 2 stocks to none. UAlbany walking away with 5 stocks total over Fisher.
Yeah, what a set that was, and I think really huge shout out there to Katyusha for the Inkling play, because it seemed even at first, but the second Katyusha got a lead, it became almost like a snowball going down a hill, because Katyusha was just able to take every single advantage. And you were talking about the reads that they had, just one small mistake, and they were able to explode that percent lead, from just maybe 10 to 30, 50, 60. And on Falco, I mean, that may or may not be a lot. You get that little bit of rage off the back of it, but I mean, you take what you can get against a combo character, because all they need is one opening. All they need is one up tilt or down air to get their strings going. So if you can get what you can get, like Katyusha was able to do, then you just roll with it and see how far it can take you. And right there, it was able to take them all the way to a win. And I think at the end of the day, Blue kind of felt the pressure of the situation of, okay, I need to take 6 stocks. I need to do something to get myself back into the game here. And that ended up hurting a little bit more. They were going for things like the drag down of forward air, which is good, but when you're pressuring Inkling shield, they're just going to rapid jab and you get that ink on you, and the percent can skyrocket very quickly. So
that's right.
A little bit more careful next time, and that's a lot closer of a set, but credit where credit's due to Katyusha for the way they were able to take care of business in that game.
Absolutely. Great stuff there to UAlbany for taking the first game. Now let's see what opening adjustments we can make here for UAlbany up against Fisher. So I think, of course, Fisher struggled a lot with Danger and Danger's Yoshi. I think of the 3 players we've seen so far, naturally the assumption kind of goes to Blue might be the most well-equipped to handling it currently, considering that both the other players kind of had to walk away with no stocks left after trying to, shooting their own shot up against Danger. So I just statistically, it seems like you want to be throwing in Blue first, but also I feel like character matchup wise and playstyle wise, that is the one to kind of mess with Yoshi the best. But that's only under the assumption that UAlbany is the one to open with Danger. I mean, honestly, I don't see why they wouldn't, considering Danger got through as many stocks as they did. So really, I think it's a pretty safe pick to go Blue's Falco first up against Danger. The only thing is you're kind of front loading your team if you want to consider Blue to kind of be the anchor of the team, right? In the back, but the potential, comeback and everything, it's all there, right? And you want to put that on your anchor. So now with the front load, this can be a bit dangerous for the game plan, but at the same time, this is how you stop the bleeding so you can kind of avoid a comeback situation to begin with, right? If you can have this Falco neutralizer, at least get Danger to 1 stock, right? You can have your next player, whoever it may be, do their absolute darndest, their absolute best to pull out that 1 stock and see how they can fare up against Katyusha's Inkling or whoever UAlbany's 3rd player may be. right? You got to try something new. Bashing your head into the wall, expecting different results is kind of the definition of insanity. So hopefully Fisher is not going to be looking to try the same opening up again, unless they're expecting UAlbany to also change up the Yoshi opener from Danger's End. But like I said, I don't know if they have a whole lot of reason to do it. So the mix of the mental game is still there, right? We might be looking at maybe a couple more stage counter picks too and everything. But I think this opening play is going to matter a lot for momentum shifts. Let's say that Fisher College does start with a non-blue opener up against Danger's Yoshi. And again, Danger's going to walk away with, let's say, 2 stocks. Even then, there's still time for Fisher to adapt and be like, okay, no, so now we send in blue, right? Try and stop that bleeding, right? It's a 2-stock deficit. It's going to hurt, right? You're in a 9-stock game. That's painful, but it's not the end of the world just yet. There's a game to play. So that's where you send in blue. That's where you try and make the recovery, the reversal happen. But, I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see what both teams' strategies are here, and how they're coming forward.
Yeah, both teams are gonna have to think about it a lot. This is actually the first time that Fisher College has trailed in a set at any point. All of their wins so far have been 2-0 victories. So this is the first set that they have dropped this season. Wow. And to a team like University of Albany, I mean, they only got to player number 2, and I'm already blinking if Katyusha even dropped a stock. I think they held on to all 3, I want to say there, but it was still, I mean, solid stuff. It was close.
It was 5-0. Yeah, Katyusha did drop 1 stock. Yeah, Katyusha did drop 1 stock, but yeah, it was still insanely great from Katyusha's play to take as much. I mean, they both went with 3 stocks, right? So winning on a low 2-stock lead is still huge. That's still great showmanship of how Inkley wants to approach that matchup and what they can do. So I don't know. Super excited to see how both these teams kind of adapt and push forward.
Yeah, and we are getting a little bit of a switch up here. It's going to be D-Danger in for the side of University of Albany again as the leadoff man, but Ray is coming in here on the Mewtwo on PS2 this time to start us off.
Oh, right. So there's another classic mix-up about these 3v3 crew battles especially, is within the set they'll be changing out their players, and of course that comes to a whole new new slew of characters, right? They've got their own character pool to work with. So now we've got a Mewtwo, a bit of a lankier, slower, almost more methodical character that can still get all great links going with starters like neutral air or up tilt, sometimes even a down tilt, or often down tilt rather, sorry, sometimes forward tilt. You get something big going there. But I think it gets a character like Yoshi. Having that big hurt box is not going to help at all. And also, additionally, Mewtwo is quite light. So I think it puts him in a big danger zone. But if he can kind of zone out and use the well-timed pseudo disjoints, not really disjoints, just long range. Ooh, there's the forward air spike. That's a tough one. Okay, we got back air chains, 3 of them. Ooh, catch him off stage 2. Think about Mewtwo's, he's got quite solid recovery. Do you have to worry about the teleport not instantly going for ledge grab? So you can go for more effective quote-unquote 2-frame against teleport characters, including, Palutena and Zelda beyond Mewtwo. But still managed to do pretty well. Also has a funky double jump like Yoshi does. But currently really struggling to lay down any percent.
Yeah, and one of the things too, you were talking about how if this Mewtwo can maybe poke out and keep their distance, they might be able to keep things close. But that forward air tells me D-Danger is not going to give them any distance to work with. They just continue to run at this Mewtwo and rack up the percent on this very light character like you mentioned. And D-Danger right now, the chase down, really just the movement of D-Danger also worth noting. Just being good at the spacing and knowing, okay, I can go in now. The second they touch this shield, I'm going to nair, and I know exactly how to follow it up. And Ray struggling off the back of it, already at 54, and still on their last stock, looking for a way to take the first of D-Dangers. A low recovery here. How do they get out of the corner with this pressure? Look at the spacing there, just barely D-Danger almost had the
Oh
into even more percent, and a forwarder is still not going to kill off the top.
Oh man, there's the spike into an upper. I always thought there was gonna be an up smash. That would have definitely taken the stock. But yeah, I was mentioning before. Oh my goodness, he catches the roll on stage with an up smash, and Danger's gonna walk away with all 3 stocks this time instead of 2. It's a 6-9 stocks from Fisher to UAlbany. Ooh, that's gonna hurt Fisher. They had an idea. They're like, you know what? Let's send in a new player. Let's try something else completely, right? This isn't someone they played against before, right? Because Danger had dealt with all 3 of existing players on Fisher's end, but now it's like, okay, let's try Ray. Let's try someone else. Let's try Mewtwo. And it just really didn't work out. One thing I wanted to call out was the Yoshi's air momentum and his spacing, his drifting back of so many aerials. We saw Mewtwo try to go for an up smash out of shield, I think on a back air punish, and just completely whiffed. Right, there's just that perfect number of spacing. Although I do think up smash is not the greatest out of shield Mewtwo option unless they're really just right on you, because that doesn't have the best scoop hitbox anyway. But I mean, like, man, that spacing was real nice. The complete just whiff that up smash and get a fantastic punish. But also we got really well timed spot dodges too. I saw him spot dodging stuff like, uncharged shadow balls, like forward tilts, just right underneath, and then run up and forward tilt, just get something going of your own, or run up and down tilt, down smash, and catching those missed techs with the Nair a lot, and then following up to scoop her right back up in the air. Forward tilt, Yoshi forward tilt is such a fantastic move. It's going to hit below. It's going to scoop people that haven't teched on the floor. They still got an active hurt box on the floor, and then they go up, and it's free combo food. It's that kit flows pretty well into itself, surprisingly more than you'd think.
Yeah, and I made a note here that D-Danger, the other character that they have as a pocket, is Luigi. So now that combo game really starts to make sense, that you've got to make your 1 or 2 openings really count, because all of a sudden your lead, if you land that combo, just explodes, right? So now you see the combo game, and you can kind of see a little bit of that in the Yoshi too, right? With that little bit of drift back, with the way that they're able to, make those 1 or 2 openings count if they get, the forward tilt or the up tilt or those up airs brought together. And I almost feel like for Ray, we were talking about the ways that you could play this matchup. I almost feel like you have to treat the Mewtwo kind of like you would a Pikachu or Pichu Yoshi, in that you got to make that combo count when you get there, but it's going to be difficult to kind of set that up in the first place. And D-Danger just not giving them the space to set up at all, just constantly pressuring, weaving in and out of the hitboxes of Mewtwo, and then even the armor that we didn't really see could have come into play there as well in that case. But I mean, D-Danger is just playing. He's playing with his pants on fire right now. He is just all over the place and on a tear. I mean, this is now, 8 stocks that he's taken just between match number 1 and match number 2. So this Yoshi is I mean, he's a one-man wrecking crew right now, and Sock'em 16's got to do something about it for the side of Fisher College if they want to pull off this comeback.
Right. This is a rematch here and Sock'em 16 is looking for revenge. He did get a pretty solid up smash read off ledge to pick up that 1 stock off of Yoshi, but that's all he was able to take. It was just a 1 stock. So let's see if Sock'em 16 is able to get in on Yoshi a little bit more, get a lot more of those damage loops going with stuff like down to a forward tilt, or just zone out with PK Fire and maybe land a PK Freeze or up smash for those final kills. Even a down smash at ledge. The scary thing about offstage, though, is as we mentioned before, something we haven't seen come out a super lot, just because the situation's never really called for it, is the armor on Yoshi's double jump. Wow. Down special into up smash. It felt like Lucas has hit Yoshi so much more than Yoshi's been able to hit Lucas, but man, these damage numbers are just not in Lucas's favor right now. There is a whipped grab, there's a forward tilt. We have Yoshi off stage, but that armor is so hard to contest. What a forward smash. Finally gets a punish. Here's the PK Freeze looking for something huge. Great Nair punish out of shield after the up special egg throw. Trying to keep damage even here, but I feel like there's a lot of kill moves that Yoshi can just kind of throw out, and a lot of pressure that he's applying on shield with stuff like down special and down air, that it's still always a delicate situation. You're almost always in kill percent when you're up against Yoshi sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, ooh, that was a good grab. Is this a stock? No, not quite yet. But Sock'em 16, I think is kind of playing more to that range game, and it's really helped even out these percents. I mean, look at how many side Bs that they've used. They get the strong hitbox of forward air there to take that stock, and they're using the stage to their advantage too. That platform makes it very difficult for D-Danger to really get in outside of something like neutral air, just kind of going forward, right? That platform interrupts any projectile that Yoshi's going to throw out at you, even the way that they're going to approach from above too. So really smart play by Soccer 16. They do die to the back air though, but they were already at a very high percent there. So we'll have to see how D-Danger can adapt to this, because right now the game plan for Soccer 16 is at least keeping it even, and so far it's got them a little bit of a lead, just barely though in percent.
Right, not something that Yoshi can't cover up fairly quickly though. Soccer 16 is doing like a decent job at keeping it even, but considering the stock advantage between the two teams, I don't know if this is exactly what Soccer 16 would want. This could be kind of, again, play at the neutralizer and try to deal with danger and save blue for the back to get that run back. But you know, knowing previous matchups, this could be a bit of a difficult mathematical type perspective on it. Like, oh, you know, we've seen blue lose to Katyusha before. Do you want to try something against danger earlier, right? And I guess that doesn't seem to be the case, so it's likely that blue is held in the back right now as their final player. But, oh, that's a whiffed up smash. He's going to be taken down for it. Sogum 16 really is going to try and take this final stock here on Danger, but this could be Danger's time to catch Greed. Oh, great PK fire snipes. Just kidding. He is down, burned to a crisp off stage into the blast zone. And now we're even percent or even stocks. 3 stock difference still between UAlbany and Fisher, with the advantage going to UAlbany.
Yeah, what a snipe that was, and what a huge play from Sockum 16 to get it back to even after dropping that second stock. They just got a little eager on that up smash, but they had the lead beforehand, so they've got to find a way to just be a little bit more patient, because they're winning the percent battle at even stock count here, and if that keeps continuing to trend the way that it does, they should be able to take this, but they've got to play patient. They've got to wait for that opening to pull the trigger on that kill move. They got to wait for D-Danger to get too aggressive, because look at this, D-Danger really struggling to find any of those combo openers, to find any window back onto stage control. The down smash even connecting there. The forward air whiffed with the whiff grab. There's a little bit more percent, but he doesn't get the tech read on the roll in there, and the sweet spot of forward air again, almost taking the stop.
There's the Zaire to clip him off stage, and he's going to catch his landing with a forward smash. We saw so many great adaptations there from Sockum, playing the spacing game, but also a big thing we saw Sockum do was throw out moves that are semi-laggy at the perfect spacing that would want to kind of bait someone to go in and be like, try to get a punish, right? But keeping that opening time enough where you can throw an up smash, a forward tilt, a down tilt. Sockum was keeping their timings really, really tight, and allowing for almost seeming like, oh yeah, you can come punish me now. My bad, I used PK freeze, or oh my bad, I used PK fire. I might have even used up smash. Although I guess Danger had a much better success rate punishing up smash, which is fair. It's a lot laggier of a move, right? But I mean, I think PK freeze especially is quite deceptive on how much end lag it has. Not the only neutral B to do that. And because of that, people are inclined to approach. They want to go in, try to get a punish. And that's where he whips out the stick, you know, the branch, and just bam, sent flying, you're gone. So Sockum 16 is going to walk away here with 1 stock, trying to hopefully neutralize Fisher and Momentum a little bit. UAlbany is still going to have a 2 stock lead here, but at least it's finally 2 players to 2 players. So that's something that you like to see if you're a Fisher or a Fisher fan. But now, are we going to be seeing Katyusha? Or are we going to be seeing UAlbany's 3rd player that we didn't get to see last time? Or is it someone else that they have on the roster that they like to keep rotating players out? Because this is something I'm seeing a lot more often now in these 3v3 crew battles, and that's actually a lot of fun. It's its own little spice of life, sprinkle in the plot twist, you know, trying to get a guess on characters, and bam, it's a completely different one. I was not expecting Mewtwo opener. You could have bet as much money as you want up against me. I would have never expected the Mewtwo opener, because I'm like, oh, I don't know if they're going to change players. I'm just going to assume that they're not going to change players, and bam.
Mewtwo, yep. and on top of that too, right? We talked about how both of these teams have a lot of depth, and it's one of those things where in a 3v3 crew battle, it's normally that, you know, teams have, you know, they're starting 3 and then maybe 1 sub. You know, maybe they've got 2. But these schools, I mean, they've got 2 full teams. They've got 5 guys per team ready to jump in at a moment's notice for these matches. So the depth that these schools bring, it's really fun to watch. But it is Katyusha who we are going to see for the second time today to try and take down this one stock of Sockham 16 and see if they can get to that third player. And
Right.
Inkling, I mean, it's certainly doable, especially the way that they played against Blue to close out the last set. And the damage this Inkling can do is incredible. So Sockham 16, again, has to play so carefully here.
Right. This is another matchup I feel that you need to have a little bit more experience in, of how to play around the awkward normals, the awkward aerials rather, that Inkling has. How to play around Ink, how to play around Bomb, and especially how to play around Roller. Knowing these things is something that doesn't quite come as intuitively because of the way Inkling kind of works as a bit of an odd character. And so you're going to have to, if you don't know the character too well, it might be a huge problem, especially Roller, because that's how they close out stocks. That's how Inkling players are looking for kills. But even now, another thing you do have to worry about is edge guarding is a bit difficult. Racking up percent on a smaller character, trying to land these combos is going to be a lot harder. It's a lot of variables that are probably running through Sockham 16's head right now. And I mean, there is a pretty significant disadvantage here, almost 100% of a difference. Pretty big kill range, but without Roller, Inkling's going to struggle a little bit. This back air, even towards left side of stage, isn't quite enough. But what a bomb to apply enough pressure to Lucas to kind of force him to use PSI Magnet to try and keep himself safe, maybe absorb it or maybe reflect it, but in doing so, dropped flow enough where he's not able to recover with BK Thunder. Great planning there from Katyusha. Going to walk away with all 3 stocks, 6-3. That's something we saw last time too. I believe we did see a 6-3 because it ended up being a 5-0. I believe, right. Yeah, we had Luz Falco up against Katyusha as the second player. That's right. So we might be seeing a rematch of a 6-3 stock difference here. So let's see now if Blue can, face the music, face the Inkling, and make a dent into Katyusha's great game plan, honestly. Or if he's going to get rolled over. No pun intended.
And I also think it's interesting, too, because, again, we've only really seen D-Danger and Katyusha for the side of UAlbany today. But like you said, the play style that they've kind of adapted of these awkward hitboxes here and there, but the combo game that they've got off the back of it, right? The expertise that they've got to pilot these characters that maybe not everyone plays. I mean, I don't know how common Yoshis and Inklings are in something like online where you can get a lot of practice, but still, I mean, the ability to convert all that percent off of the one opening that you get seems to be kind of the staple of the UAlbany play. And right now, I mean, it's working. They're just kind of implementing their game plan and forcing their will into these matches. They're saying, we're going to control the pace of these games, and we are going to make our openings count the most. Because right now, I mean, you think about how Sockham 16 had to play that match just constantly in fear of something like Roller, some opening like a neutral air, and they just have to kind of wait, play a little bit more patient, use a get off me move like forward tilt or down tilt, or a lot of times what we saw from Sockham 16 when they were trying to recover is that they'll grab the ledge and they'll do the Zaire back to stage, and not necessarily the safest of options, but a good mix-up a lot of the time. It worked a lot of the time. But you could tell that it was a little bit of a reach, right? That felt like something they were pulling out of their pocket to try and get themselves back into the game, back onto stage. And when you're playing from behind like that, you're going to need to pull out those tricks, but you're also going to need to find a way to get something else off the back of it. It's going to work once or twice maybe, but not the third time. And so that's where you got to be very careful here. And in terms of adaptation too, we've already seen Sockham 16 in their second set adapt to how they wanted to play against D-Danger by picking a very strong stage for themselves and completely swapping up their play style from the first time they played. We'll have to see if Blue can do the same here if they choose to send in Blue this time around.
Yeah, I think I have some special news for you here, Soy. If I'm getting this information correctly, it turns out the next player, I think, from Fisher College and their final player for this game is going to be JD the Ganon. And I think that's a doozy in itself. There's a lot to unpack here. Having Ganon as your anchor, having these big body, heavy, big hitter type characters in crew battles is a complete momentum gamble, right? If they're in your head, you're dying at upwards of 40%, right? You could just the hardest of reads and you're gone. But alternatively, if they can't find their way in, if they can't find the right reads, they're getting slapped around left and right like a tennis ball, right? There's nothing that they're doing. They're being ping ponged by one player. This isn't doubles. It's just they're that big, they're that large, they're that susceptible. They're getting comboed, and their moves aren't fast enough to help themselves break out. Their defensive options usually aren't the greatest. Their out of shield options aren't always going to be the greatest. And so these types of characters, this archetype is really, really interesting to pull out in a crew battle, but especially on one where you're on your back foot and as your final player, their anchor up against a fast character, high damaging character like Inkling, who utilizes you having a much larger hurt box, which allows them to hit things like bombs, ink, and roller so much easier. It's like one of the craziest gambles I've seen. I do not know what's going to happen here, but again, Ganon is Ganon, right? 2 downers, 1 up smash, 1 F smash, maybe 1 reverse warlock punch, maybe even an up tilt. Could be a great forward air off stage. Who knows? You're dying in pretty much every move in Ganon's kit. Jab can kill you at enough percent. You got to always be looking out against Ganon. Like, yeah, okay, on paper, this matchup sounds pretty doomed for Ganon. I don't want to be any sort of naysayer about what Fisher College strategy is here, but I'm definitely skeptical about the potential that Ganon here is going to hold up against Inkling of all characters. But I mean, miracles, as I said, can always happen. So let's see what we're getting ourselves into.
Miracles start with a big swing in momentum, and these heavies can bring it, but it's up to Katyusha to shut that down. Small battlefield, the stage, and I think this is more for JD, right? The fact that you can control those platforms a little bit more if you especially can keep Katyusha to the edges of the stage, but so far Katyusha just in the face of this Ganondorf. And you were talking about the lack of defensive options. That's going to be a huge factor throughout this game because Ganon can get so much out off of one opening, but they're going to be pressured so frequently by this fast Inkling that's going to be just, I mean, look at this. The back air drift is so hard for Ganon to deal with. How do you get in when the movement is so quick?
Yeah, he's finally able to land a grab punish on that. And oh my goodness, gets 1 forward tilt after a down throw nair, already 45%. Looking for something crazy here. Potential edgeguard with the downer is going to rise with the nair. Honestly, I want to call this stock about even. Knowing the characters and what they're supposed to be doing, the percents, I mean, yeah, they tell a story, right? Looks like the Inkling's quite ahead, but okay, now I'll give this a bit of a disadvantage to Ganon at this point. But I mean, 90 to 50 is almost about even. Right, a couple more hits from Ganon, suddenly that Inkling's at 80, and that's kill percent. Oh, what a great gimp. Amazing offstage gameplay there from Katyusha, just catching those jumps, catching the air dodge, securing that kill, knowing that Ganon really can't mess with too much. I don't know if that up tilt was a misinput or what, but that is a bit unfortunate, or maybe one of the most insane reads that they've ever gone for. Definitely wasn't hitting in 10,000 years, though.
Just a little off. And JD, I mean, the other scary thing, too, that you have to worry about if you're Katyusha here, they haven't had to worry about it so far because they've really been just connecting all of these hits. But when you are a character like Inkling, who can just rack up damage with all that extra ink on a character, you're feeding the heavy with rage. So all of a sudden, you are going to die a lot sooner if you don't find that kill confirm or that kill or a bomb off stage like that.
That bomb angle
guarding is so good today.
Yeah, that bomb angle was beautiful. Perfectly catching trajectory of the in-place air dodge, so it doesn't actually change your momentum. You just keep going down the same way you were. And the bomb was following that perfectly, and he was gone. But we did see a forwarder at ledge finally take a stock here from JD's side, but it's 1 stock to 5. This could be another 5-0 with Katyusha standing over. It's looking like it. There's the roller. It's a back air, catches that roll in both ways, but still able to shield in time. There's the Ganon side B, the flame choke. But still getting covered by the bomb too. Tries to recover onto ledge, get caught by roller into the dash up smash. 183.7%. JD goes down. Katyusha stands victorious. 2 stocks on them, 5 stocks for the team, 2-0 for the set. And UAlbany is going to take it over Fisher College. That was UAlbany A up against Fisher White, their secondary team. So both these, as you said before, are 3-0 in their group. And now looks like we have our conqueror. We have our 4-0 versus our 3-1. And it's going to be going over to UAlbany A as the 4-0 in their group. Congratulations to them. What a great set, Soy. What a great set.
That was a lot of fun to watch. And again, characters that maybe you don't often see. The Yoshi and the Inkling putting in so much work. D-Danger looked fantastic on the early set, and in the later sets, there were some adaptations he had to deal with, but still put in so much damage. And then Katyusha playing cleanup crew and as only the second man of University of Albany. We didn't even get to see a third player because Katyusha and D-Danger were playing so clean. A lot of fun to watch, and I can't wait to see what they do down the line.
That's right. That's right. I believe that wraps it up for us here today. Thank you all so much for joining us. I'm Combo. My Twitter is listed right here. If you have any feedback or want to talk, drop a follow, whatever, always available, always super appreciated. Joined here by Soy.
Yep, and my Twitter is down below too. There it is. And yep, I just check in for updates on whatever I'm doing on the day. And yeah, but also thank you to production at Esports U for allowing Combo and I on. I mean, they put on a fantastic show every week, every Monday. We have a blast doing this. It's so much fun to get to see these guys and these schools compete week in and week out throughout the school year.
Yeah, it really is a grand old time. So we'll be back here as soon as and often as we can, but do stick around for Esports U and ECAC. The circuit continues, as does this stream. I think we'll be switching over to another event shortly. So do keep that in mind. Don't go anywhere. Stick around, engage. But until then, we'll see you guys next time.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup 2022. Once again, I'm still Septulence, but this time I am joined by the CEO of News Street, Eric, who's going to get to tell us about NFTs, which I'm really excited because I told you this before the interview. I know nothing. I'm like a newborn baby about this. Yeah. So I would love to hear kind of about what you do, and then we can talk a little bit more about the esports side of things.
Yeah, so absolutely. We'll get into the NFT side in a second. But just to quickly explain what I do,
yeah, of course.
Eric Witchen, thank you for the intro. CEO of News Street, and News Street is a media and analytics platform for collectors. So you can think about it as like the world of collectibles has grown significantly over the last 5 to 10 years. And what's happened is we've had a lot of marketplaces evolve. So places that are going to sell you things. Like if I want to buy a pair of sneakers, I have to go to no less than 10 to 12 websites in order to figure out the best price. So the value proposition for us starts with, as a collector, where can I buy these things on the internet and where can I get the best deal possible? And then furthermore, we add media and insights, sort of like a financial technology company would do, but around things that I personally care about a lot more than stocks.
Right.
So that's us.
Absolutely. So looking at it, NFTs being one thing, esports being the other.
Yeah.
Where's the link? Yeah. Where's the connection there?
So first off, let's demystify NFTs a little bit.
Oh yes, please.
So first of all, an NFT is the first time in human history that we've been able to prove that something digital is scarce.
Yeah.
You need to take that in for a second. So basically, we've been creating things on the internet and with digital art and otherwise for many, many years. We're buying in-game items, we're doing a bunch of things, and we've been taught that because you can copy and paste those things, they have no value, right? Enter the blockchain, and the blockchain allows us to be able to prove that something digital is truly owned by one particular person.
Sure.
So you can copy and paste that thing as many times as you want,
is it
but
like
you
a
don't own it.
certificate then?
It's absolutely like a certificate of authenticity, certificate of ownership that could represent a digital asset or a physical asset just as equally.
Right.
There are people playing with this in real estate markets. I mean, so collectibles, is just one of the areas that this thing is interesting in. But in terms of esports, I think it connects very much to. When you think about all the work that you do as a gamer in these ecosystems, what happens if one day this ecosystem, this company that controls this ecosystem no longer exists? All your in-game assets and all the things that you've worked so hard no longer exist too. And so, of course, the primary use case of these assets in ecosystem are going to be within the ecosystem, maybe forever. But it'd be really nice to be able to pull them out of the ecosystem, own them separately, and so if those companies are foregone, go by the wayside someday, you still have these things to say, hey, I used to play this game, it was a lot of fun, And so that's really where I think the value comes in.
Okay, so that's
Preservation of value, so to speak.
Yeah, so that's a great kind of segue into the other part. You've got all these positives, so people that are looking at it, they're kind of shaking their head a little bit. They're like, oh, this is going to be damaging, this can be harmful. What is kind of the counterpoint to that, I guess?
Of course. The counterpoint is that I think the misperception is these NFT games are coming to take gaming away from gamers, or the fun out of games. And the fact of the matter is that's like a lot of the current NFT gaming is more of a replacement for casino gambling than it is for anything else.
Sure.
I mean, these are not meant to be competitive with the games that you guys are playing here, and shouldn't be seen as such. So it's almost like two completely different industries.
Okay.
You know, the graphic engines and all the things that are behind the scenes on these things, they're just not there yet. I mean, if you look at it looks like some of these look like Minecraft 10 years ago.
Right.
But that being said, really, it's the connectivity to economics, to the rest of the web and whatnot that makes a lot of these things really more interesting.
Sure.
And those things haven't even happened yet.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So it's to kind of pull us away from the e-sport back to the NFT kind of topic. And you and I did discuss this a little bit before the interview, is people are often talking about how NFTs can be damaging or harmful to kind of the real world, literal environment, the environment
Definitely.
itself. So what is kind of, for somebody, compared to me who knows nothing, someone who actually knows what's up with NFTs, what's the stance on that?
Yeah, so absolutely. So it's one of the most strongest negatives about NFTs right now is the carbon footprint that these blockchains leave. And just to get not too technical, but just to talk really quickly through it, there's these things that essentially are used to confirm transactions. It's called a consensus mechanism.
Okay.
Essentially, it's how do you prove that the ledger is accurate?
That it happened,
right? And so Bitcoin and Ethereum currently use this thing called proof of work.
Okay.
And that uses a lot of energy, tons of energy. I mean, energy of small countries. So I do agree that on a per user basis, the electricity that's being used right now by the network is absolutely higher than it should be. That being said, Ethereum in particular is going through a change this year that's going to reduce the emissions by something like 99.5%.
Wow.
So it's really like, it's kind of like one of those things that is a current problem, but that problem gets solved really quickly.
Right.
And I sometimes question the areas that these narratives come from. Because when you think about it, right, like negative narratives tend to come from industries that don't want something to succeed. And you look at the things like crypto industries or whatnot. And there's a lot of industries that stand to lose if crypto wins. So I'll just leave it at that. But there's a lot of false narratives being perpetuated, especially around the environment. And the fact of the matter is whereas they are currently concerns, they very quickly become non-concerns.
Sure.
And a lot of actually the current blockchains that are being used actually already use this consensus mechanism.
Okay.
So really take very, very, very little power.
Yeah, so I guess the question is, are you afraid that even after they fix this, the 99% goes on,
Sure.
Are you afraid that's going to damage the longevity of this idea, of this concept?
I think that it has the potential to, right?
Sure.
Because we're still in the early adoption phase.
Right.
And so anytime you get a narrative as strong, especially environmental ones, which I am very attuned with, environmental concerns, it alienates a large group of people. So there are groups of people, that like lobbyists for all intents and purposes that are taking the counterpoint and are essentially lobbying for the crypto industry. So lobbyists everywhere, basically.
Yeah, and I guess, so we've covered the NFT portion, we've covered a little bit of the gamer portion, but a gamer watching this, somebody gaming,
Absolutely.
Where's the benefit for them? What's the benefit of kind of the gaming NFT?
Absolutely. So I would say right now, very little. I'll be honest with you.
Sure.
But it's coming. And where it's coming is in the ability to own these in-game items and digital objects that you worked so hard to collect, that commemorate things that you've done, things that you've won. It connects to a lot of different things, particular in esports, but also just in everyday life.
Yeah.
Ticketing for events is there's a lot of ticketing vendors that are moving to this as some way to keep these tickets immortalized in your wallet forever. Once in a while I'll find a little piece of paper that reminds me that I went to a concert in 1987. Right. But generally speaking, I don't find those that often.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's a lot of really cool things, and I think that a lot of people get sort of, any nascent industry is going to have cash grabs and scams.
Right.
The internet had that in '99 and 2000 as well, but here we are. So, that's kind of how I think about things.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, hey, thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
I know that I have learned a lot. I hope people watching have learned a lot as well, but I really appreciate all that.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
First, can you just tell me a little bit about yourself?
Hi, so my name is Caitlin. I'm a part of Farmingdale State College's esports club. I am captain of the Valorant Green team. I am a second semester sophomore at Farmingdale State College, and I'm 19 years old.
Okay, do you like Farmingdale so far?
Yeah, it's really great. The program I'm in is very specialized, and it's not offered that often in the East Coast, so it's pretty nice. I enjoy it.
And what's your major?
My major is aerospace professional pilot degree.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Thank you.
So, is this your first time on an esports team?
No, so I've been a part of the Valorant team for 2 semesters, and this is my third semester, and it's my first time ever being a captain.
Okay, oh, that's awesome. Can you tell me a little bit about what it's like being a captain?
So a lot of times I'm organizing the team, making sure everyone is properly set for upcoming games, um, getting scrims for our team, and kind of just making sure everyone is there, present, and possible, and able to play the games that we're gonna, you know, be participating in. We're participating in 2 leagues this semester, so it's kind of hectic.
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely. I can see that. How is it different for you as a player versus as a captain? Do you feel a lot of responsibility?
I basically have the responsibility of choosing who, really plays, what type of characters everyone's playing, and what positions and roles we are all doing, as well as being there not only as a team member, but also being seen as in a leadership role and having that sort of respect there, and being able to delegate everyone's role in the team. So it's definitely a lot more different, and my voice is most definitely heard. So I like it. I like being a captain.
Yeah, that's really good. What games do you play, or what is your main game? I know you mentioned Valorant.
Right. So I play Valorant, but I started off with Counter-Strike, and I really always have been interested in FPSs. So that background has always been there. So my transfer onto Valorant was pretty easy.
That's cool. What have you done to improve yourself in game over time?
So one thing for my teams especially, I have open communication where we're able to really give our constructive criticism without taking offense. And me as a captain, especially it being my first semester, I find it really important that everyone is able to come to me and communicate like, "Hey, Kate, I don't know how I feel about doing this," or "I want my voice to be heard about this specific thing." And just basically taking into consideration everyone's voice and having that open line of communication is really helpful, and that's something I find really important.
Okay. Do you carry that strategy into your everyday life as well, would you say?
Yeah, communication is really important to me, especially in aviation with crew members. You're always trying to communicate properly and efficiently to get the assigned goal completed, and that works in video games as well as in aviation. So I feel like it transfers very well, and I put my 100% effort in everything I do. I put 100% in the team, the leagues that we're participating in, communicating with opposing teams that we might be going against. All those things, I take it really important and can transfer very well into everyday life.
Can you tell me a little bit about what you think about CECC and just competing in general?
It's a lot of fun, and we're so grateful for the opportunity to participate. And this is something that every single member of our team has said. We've never had the opportunity to really compete in a fashion where it's not only fun, we're able to make friends, talk to other people from different schools. It's just an amazing opportunity and something we would love to participate in the future as well.
Yeah, we're really happy you feel that way. When your team is competing with other teams, are there any specific teams or schools that your team kind of looks out for?
I think we all have the mentality of it doesn't matter who the other team is. We're gonna put 100% effort, and we're going to maintain our mental, even if the other team is full of radiance. It's not something we're gonna keep in mind because we will be able to beat them. Fingers crossed.
Definitely. Yeah, that's a really good mindset. As you probably know, March is Women's History Month, and you being a woman in esports, how do you think that has an effect on esports? What does it mean to you to be a woman in esports and as a captain? Just could you talk about that for a little bit?
Coming into being a woman in aviation, which is already really a niche type of thing, especially with women in video games, things like that. It's just we're kind of the minority, and keeping that in mind, a lot of times you have to represent yourself properly because you are representing such a small community. So I feel proud and honored to be a part of the women's in aviation as well as being a woman in esports, and it's a lot of fun, and just understanding that us girls are here too and we're as good as everyone else, and that we have the opportunity to be a leader in esports, and that we're equal to everyone. It's really important to keep that in mind because we're here even though you might not see us too often.
I know you said as captain your voice is heard, but when you first started to be a captain, did everyone take you seriously being a girl? Was that respect there, or did you struggle with that?
So I would say initially when I first got on the team, I was put onto a support role, and everyone knows that women normally play healer when it comes to going into any game. And now I'm playing more of a controller based or sentinel, which is very crucial for holding down sites. So by playing that now and then having those semesters in my backpack of experience, everyone has treated me with respect, and uh, I would hope it stays that way. And either way, I demand respect because I reciprocate that respect to everyone else. So it's definitely difficult, especially for girls starting out. That toxicity is there, especially even now. Whenever I play a game without my team there, that toxicity is there just for being a girl. But as long as you don't have that mindset of them affecting you because you're better than them anyway, it's fine.
Definitely. Well, that's good. I'm happy that you're getting respect that you deserve, and that's awesome. And thank you so much again for your time, and I really appreciate it.
No problem. I just wanted to add that our esports club as well, started only with 13 students and 2 teams in 2019. And now we're up to 19 different teams and over 350 students to date in 2021. Like that progress is there. And even if you have such a small, like, if you think that things are so small, realize that a community is there for you, especially being a female in esports. That community is there for you.
Definitely. That's a great way to end it. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing your story. I really appreciate it again and your time. Just thank you overall. That's awesome. Keep
No
doing what you're
problem.
doing.
Thank you
Thank
for the opportunity.
you. Of course. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Hey guys, KTAD here, and just like that, another season of ECAC Esports regular season play has come to a close. Over the last 8 weeks, we saw a crazy amount of hype competition from some of the best collegiate esports has to offer, and as usual, you guys have me one last time to break it all down and to show you guys what we thought were some of the top plays this week. And honestly, guys, I don't have much more to say. Just check it out because I think we've got some really incredible clips here. Let's take a look. In our opening clip, it's Professor Dementium with a straight boot off the stage to kick things off for Bloomfield.
Got himself one. Kick back off stage though. Able to air dodge is going to be that Bowser. He'll do it again, and he'll also bring himself that down smash so he gets quickly back before that Falcon's able to take any sort of advantage. But well, you're gone. The spikes come through. It's a clean kick to wrap things up, and well, he's got one. He's got one stock for his troubles.
Up next, the duel of Donkers and Robeast have some things to say with this beautiful 1-2 combo to close the door on Albany.
Hit the intersection and go straight up in the air for Robeast, who's going to work Central Missouri into the offense. Flip reset's a good one. The pass down to Donkers, and he finds the net. A 3-goal deficit in Game 3.
I gotta say, Curtis, it seems like after these two teams came out of Game 2, right? Again.
In our next play, who needs to be able to see your enemy when you can just take a educated guess?
Great, 1-for-1 over towards Catwalk. There's still more where that came from. Myranium is next up, and he will take a couple too many fights. Solsta as well is going to be able to take a couple of fights, winning them both. It's 1v3, and Novacorium won't be able to do anything. Johnson, Wales.
At number 5, it's Saltonics with this huge flank onto Cole College to secure Temple of Anubis for his team.
Right now, it's got to be just destroying it straight up. Maybe with the Coalescence, maybe the Supercharger, but that Riptire could just immediately rip through.
Here's that Riptire. It does move Joker, but it could have been a catastrophic play. Now Nightbolt is pulled all the way off the point, and that's an easy one. Tonic's coming in with a triple off of that crucial Rocket Barrage, and that is all of them off the point.
Now it's down to Joker just to get the touch onto the point. Tracer.
Coming back to the Bloomfield versus Keen matchup, it was a clutch finish from Zenipu as he finishes off Brandon without dropping a single stock.
No, one more lease on life. Lease on life indeed for Brandon. Looking to hold the ledge, but a recovery from Zenipu. He says second time's the charm. He'll send him to the moon, and once again, Zenipu will not drop a stock.
Blast packing our way into the number 2 spot though. It's a 4K from Butta to cement the lead for Providence College.
Back roads around the high ground to try and avoid that as much as possible.
Oh my absolute days! Here was me looking for that Transcendence to counteract the grab, and no, it was just a big fat go button. In comes the pulse bomb. Down goes SUNY Poly Wildcats.
Phil, I can't remember the last time I've seen...
Blast packing our way into the number 2 spot though. It's a 4K from Butta to cement the lead for Providence College.
Not much more. That tap can go a long way in the latter half, right? Now Retna bringing out that Stimmy, trying to get the opportunity to move the team in forward. Okay, there's that showstopper I was thinking about. It looks like D-Nuns is going to have that show stopped. Sal, not particularly far behind, a 4v2. But really starting to wake up here on the race.
Yeah, wow, so impressive. And 4K there, just going straight through the entire team like a bulldozer. Will not stop until all are taken down.
And in our top play from the last week of regular season play, it is a nail-biter last-second goal that will keep you guessing until the very end.
Leaves their own open, a little bit of high pass, you angle it in, but it's just off the top of the goalpost.
Top of the goalpost coming in deep. Matrix able to find something here. The demolition comes through. 7 seconds left for a true game win, but in overtime feeling incredibly likely. But tied out of a wide open goal. No! No! Orbital, the waffle iron has been flipped, and Farmingdale finds themselves up 4-3. 2 seconds left on the clock. The only hope for Louisville to win this out is with a kickoff goal. They cannot make a single mistake, or they will.
And with that, I mean, what more do you guys want me to say? It was a crazy week to wrap things up, but it's really just been a crazy season overall with the addition of Division A and what I personally think is some of the most competitive action here in collegiate esports. I mean, what a season, and there's only much more to come. With the playoffs starting on April 4th, you guys can expect to see a lot more action that will continue all throughout the month, and that will wrap up on the week of April 25th. Now, if you guys want to stay up to date on all of that, make sure you follow us on Twitter at ECAC_esports, or follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/ECAC_esports. Mondays and Tuesdays matches will be lighting off at 8 p.m. Eastern. On Wednesdays, it is going to be the doubleheader of Rocket League and Overwatch at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys are tuned in. And as for me and the rest of the crew behind the scenes that works on not only just the production, but these highlight videos for you guys, we just want to say thank you for joining us for what has been another incredible season. And we look forward to so much more that we're going to bring you guys in the next school year, in the fall and the spring and beyond. We've got a lot of great things coming, so stick around, don't go anywhere. Come back right here to this channel, to this Twitter, to this Twitch, to this YouTube, wherever it is you see this. Stay tuned because even more is on the way. Thank you guys once again. I've been KTAD. It's been a wonderful season, and we'll see you next time.
That's so cute. UCF, and it's really cute. So I'm gonna move down here. How do we feel? The odds for UCF? What are we thinking?
They got it. No, we got this. We got it.
Go Knights, charge on.
100%. My friend Nick is behind you. He's gonna record it. Don't look at him. You'll ruin the shot. Don't look at him. Don't look at him.
Come on.
Oh,
Let's go! Let's go!
My smile's probably really creepy. I was just being weird. Oh, I love being in the shadows, though. Big shout out to the shadows. We could interview Dilly just because I think he's handsome. You weren't supposed to hear.
Here's the thing about the event. I'm the greatest that's ever lived.
Literally true. I know him.
I think everyone knows that. I think everyone's aware of that.
Hey, do you have a VIP access badge on?
I actually have an all access.
Oh, an all access. I thought it said VIP access.
And that's only available for the best.
That's true. He's right. That's a main stage TO right there.
If this goes live, I'm suing everybody.
It's all right. A video of me. The first clip is me saying, "Don't put that in," and then it was the first. Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras. Oh, you're recording already? Great. So this is this is Bay State versus UCF. I believe something that we saw yesterday on day one of the tournament, but instead we're gonna have that run back here. I think they're fighting for a spot in Grand Finals. Anarchy, one of the best Greninja players in the United States, currently struggling against a Terry. Terry notorious for that DLC privilege, being a very strong character with some very strong abilities. Greninja, not so much, considered one of the weaker characters in the game. A Falco player, one of the best in the United States, and he just got spiked by a Terry. Same Terry that took out Anarchy literally minutes ago. UCF still up by 2 stocks. This guy is looking to rip this team apart single-handedly. That is, I mean, nuts, to say the very least. Absolutely absurd. That was a disgusting spike. I cannot believe that happened. Will you hold the microphone so I can sign this? Sorry.
For context, he's got a fan. He's actually signing something. He's so excited.
What was it like to not hear my voice for 2 minutes? For 30 seconds, maybe. What was it like? Probably bliss. I was signing a mouse pad, which is really cool. I've never done that before. Nobody's ever asked me for a signature, so I'm going to start blushing, but I'm really excited about that. And then he wants a picture. Can you take a picture of us? I said, is it bad? She went, no. I'm going to go ahead and take that as a yes.
Turns out I can't tie a tie sitting down.
What do you think is the appropriate face-to-screen ratio for a Valorant player?
Face to screen, like how close I sit?
Yeah, like how close should a player sit?
Personally, I play really, really close. I think it depends on your eyesight, but for me, I like playing close because it helps me focus on my crosshair.
Is the value of sitting close, the crosshair being the only thing in your line of sight?
Yeah, that's pretty much the main benefit of it.
It's so funny how close some of these guys sit. Oh my goodness. What do you think is the healthy face-to-screen distance for a Valorant player?
I think it's all kind of personal preference. I guess I would consider myself like pretty close when I play because I like to like zone in on my crosshair.
It is the second person to say that. It's all about the crosshair. And then what's up with the horizontal keyboard?
I don't know, like it just kind of fits like the form when I'm close to monitor. Like I don't know, it might sound cringy, but I like to like be one with my gun. You know?
No, bro, I feel it. I feel it absolutely. What is going on, everybody? I am here with some UCF fans. How are we feeling about UCF? Let's go! Let's go! We've got a bunch of UCF fans in the crowd right now. UCF, they're up by a single game. They're looking to find their third and possibly final, secure a spot moving forward. Things looking great for them against Northwood here today. This guy's playing Minecraft right now. He keeps double building instead of placing the dirt. Pressure's on, man. Everybody's watching. Just kidding. Just me. Cameraman's not over here. Just kidding. He's behind you. There's actually always cameras on you if I'm around. Do you double build all of those? No excuses, bro. Your college esports Minecraft team absolutely rolled. L after L here. Let's hope UCF has a little better luck on stage, huh? What is going on, everybody? I am Septilence. I have the honor of welcoming you to the Collegiate Esport Commissioners Cup here in Atlanta, Georgia. All right, that was good. That was good. Good content, good content.
My name is Dusty. I'm 24 years old, and this is my first year at Bay State College and first year towards my bachelor's there. But I've been going to college for a few years now, or several years now.
Cool. What are you studying?
Right now, I am studying human resource management in
Nice.
business. Yeah.
Do you like Bay State so far?
Yes. Yeah. It's been pretty good so far. It's only been 1 quarter, but I like it so far. So
Where are you from?
I'm from SoCal. I'm doing it uh, remotely from Southern California.
So, what games do you play? What's your main game?
My main game is Smash Brothers, and that's what I compete in. So Super Smash Brothers Ultimate.
Okay, what character do you like?
Wii Fit Trainer is my main character.
So, how has it been being part of a collegiate team at Bay State? Have you been on a collegiate team before?
I've been on teams before. I don't know if I've been on a collegiate team before. Um, I think this is my first collegiate team, but it is really nice, and the teammates are really supportive, and I've met some cool people, so that's nice. But I definitely do have experience like with teams, so uh, it's nothing like super new, but it's always good to be in a team, have that support.
A fresh team. Yeah, that's cool. So, how long have you been playing Smash?
I've been playing Smash for about like 7-ish years now. Well, I've kind of played it since I was like really young, but like competitively, I've played it like 7 years. I played since the release of of Smash 4, which was the previous Smash game, and now I've played into Ultimate, so quite a while.
What has been your proudest moment since playing Smash?
That's hard to say because I've honestly had a lot of good moments. It's just I feel like every other week or every other month I have a new moment where I'm like, wow, that's the best I've ever played, which feels good and makes it, I keep going for stuff like that. But every time I play and I play a tournament set and it feels really good and I feel like I'm playing the best I've ever played, probably each of those consecutive moments. I just had a tournament a couple weekends ago in Las Vegas where I placed ninth out of nearly 400, I think, and I think that was one of the best I've ever played, and that felt really good. So that was a really big accomplishment for me.
So, you would definitely say over the past 7 years, you said that you've grown a lot in the game?
Yeah, I think I've grown a lot in the game, and I think I've also grown a lot just as a person too. Just like competition in general, there's a lot of learning, and there's a lot of a lot of ways to approach it. I've learned how to teach other people as well because I do coaching as well, stuff like that. Um, so I've learned a lot through Smash. Yeah.
How long have you been doing the coaching part?
Coaching, I've been doing maybe a year and a half ish, maybe almost 2 years. I'm actually not sure on the number. I think a year-ish, year and a half is probably closer to the right one. But yeah, that's been a lot of fun too. It's really interesting because it gives you a different perspective on the game, and not only are you helping other people, but you kind of help yourself in a way too because you can kind of see things from a different perspective, So.
How would you describe yourself? Do you like competing more or playing for fun or
I'm definitely more of a competitor. Ever since I was young, like I remember playing like board games um with like friends or something. I think I was waiting for them to play, and I think some of them were playing like just like house rules or whatever, and I was like really, really young, and it like made me upset. I'm like, you guys aren't playing it the right way or whatever. But like I've always been a competitor, but at the same time, like you have to have fun because if you're only a competitor and you're only competing and it's all seriousness, like it's there's like a limit to that. So like you have to have fun. So definitely both, but I definitely lean towards the competitive sides of things. So I like optimizing things and seeing the best thing you can do because it all started out with like uh it all started out with it just being fun because when I was younger, I played different games and I originally just played them for fun and I played them all the time, but I played them so often and I got so good at them to the point where uh, it just started to naturally lean into the competitive side of things. And I was so good to the point where I was like, oh, okay, what can I do to make myself like better and how can I see this as like something I can improve at? So it kind of made like a transition a little bit, but so it's both.
if you were to give someone advice who may be looking into joining an esports team but they're kind of on the fence, what would you tell them?
My advice would be to really like think over what they're looking for like in not only in the collegiate esports team but in school as well and like see like exactly does this line up with what they really want and just to figure out what they really want and if it's going to be a good decision from like a scholarly standpoint and from like a financial standpoint because there's a lot of things to consider. Like I thought it over a lot before I realized, okay, yes, this is a really good decision, I should go for this. So that's something that should be considered, and also like the time frame as well, because if you commit yourself to a collegiate team, it could potentially be a long time, um, so just consider it and think through like all your options, and don't ever make it like don't ever make a decision just off like an emotional reaction or anything like that. Just like, think it through, I guess.
So for you personally, how many hours do you think you game a week?
That's a good question. It's actually way less than it used to be, but before I would be putting in probably several hours a day into Smash. About a year ago, I was like really, really grinding it and put a lot of effort into it. But lately, like my priorities have shifted just a little bit, just because there's other things I need to focus on. Like I started working again recently and stuff like that. So it's taken a little bit of a backseat, but it's always something I focus on. So like even though I'm not necessarily playing all the time right now, I still try to get at least 30 to 60 minutes in a day. But I've been really busy lately, so it hasn't been looking like that lately. But if I'm not doing that, then there's still other stuff that kind of goes into it. Like I do a lot of research on mentality stuff and like stuff like meditation and stuff. So if I'm not gaming or whatever, there's still other things that I feel like is going towards my improvement at the game.
Could you expand a little bit on like meditating and how that helps you?
Yeah, so with a game like Smash, it can be like really volatile, and one of the reasons why I pursued Smash is because, well, I've always liked it since a young age, but also it's always been like really challenging. Like Smash 4 came out, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start competing with Smash 4, and I started playing it. For whatever reason, when I started playing it, like I realized that I was getting like frustrated, like I was like kind of getting a little bit angry, and like I anger is something I don't really feel very often. So it was kind of like a challenge for me. I'm like, okay, this is really challenging. This game is really hard. I want to figure out how to do this. Like I want to challenge myself. And that was a lot of reason why I did that in Smash. Just like some other things, like it can be comparable to kind of like chess and tennis in a way, with like mentality aspects. And I used to play tennis in high school, and I was never really like super good at it, but I was really into it whenever I was playing for some reason. And there was a lot of frustration in that too back in high school when I played. So it was figuring out how to manage that frustration, and how to like get it under control and actually channel it into something useful. Because one of my goals is always to be like, I want to be like a calm and collected person when I play. I like, even though I'm an emotional person, I can be an emotional person because I'm passionate and I care a lot about it. But that's kind of where the meditation comes in, because it lets you kind of be more like at one with yourself and your emotions and how you feel, and stuff like that. And also just kind of eases your mind a bit, and it can really help in those situations. Like if you practice meditation and then you're in game and you're playing, and there's a situation where it's like super high tense situation, it can kind of give yourself the advantage, because you might be a lot more calm than your opponent if you do practice stuff like meditation. And it just has a bunch of other benefits as well, because with something like Smash, I try to be like the best I can be in game and like out of game. I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I feel like if I improve everything that I can to the best of my ability, then it gives me like the highest chances to win, like in the game.
I know you speak about frustration and anger, but what about nerves? Like, do you get nervous?
Every now and then I definitely do get a little bit nervous. A lot of the things, like a lot of the my nerves I kind of quell at this point, because I've been playing for like so long, where it's like if I go to a tournament, and I sit down, it's just me in the game, like it's just me in the match, and that's the goal, and it's just trying to learn and just play what's in front of me, But sometimes there are a little bit of nerves, like for example in Vegas, because I'm not very often playing on like big stages. Sometimes it's smaller tournaments, and at Vegas it was a bigger stage and there was a lot more people watching, so it was a bit more of a unique situation that I wasn't always in, and there was a little bit of nerves there, although it was a bit under control. But um, I think I definitely have the nerves mostly under control. And if there's a new situation like the stage one, I feel like just having more experience with that kind of stuff kind of help quells it. And also it's just because there's also other methods too, like telling yourself like, uh, like self-affirming stuff, I'm this is what I do. I'm just gonna go up there and play the game and do my best. And telling yourself that kind of stuff helps with nerves a lot too. So.
As a coach, do you tell those things to the people that you're coaching as well when they're nervous?
Yeah, I try a lot to practice what I preach, and I do in my coaching. There's a lot of mentality coaching too, because uh, I feel like not a lot of I feel like it's a really interesting part of the game and just a part of life too. And I feel like it's not something people focus on a lot with coaching. I feel like a lot of coaching, they're focusing on technical aspects, in-game aspects. Like what can you do in this situation that can be better. But sometimes like mentality comes first, and they're not going to be able to make those steps and make those leaps without like making a change in their mentality first, or at least trying to make an improvement somewhere there. And there's a lot of different like perspectives for it, but yeah.
I really admire your mindset. That's really cool. A lot of the
Thank
gamers
you.
that I've talked to are like aggressive. It's
Thank you.
really cool to hear that. Switching gears a little bit, how do you feel about the CECC? What do you think about it? And do you think your team will go to Atlanta?
So far, I think it's been good. It's been fun, and I do think there's a very high chance we would go to Atlanta. With my mentality, like I was talking about before, sometimes I just go into it and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do my best and I'm gonna play, and that's really what comes down to it. But I am really confident in our team's ability. I think we have a really good set of guys that put a lot of work into it. So I'm very confident that we would likely go to Atlanta. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. Then I just go from there.
Well, those are all the questions I had. So, is there anything else that you want the world to know about you or anything that you would like to end with?
I don't know, for anyone watching, like just try to find like a balance like in life, and try to find like who you are truly, and like follow that passion. Because just for like reference, I worked somewhere for 3 years, and then I felt like I wasn't being called to work there anymore, and like Smash was something I always cared about and always wanted to do. So I quit work, and with the money I had saved up, I pursued Smash for like a year and a half, and like that phase just kind of ended. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. Like I wasn't like making a lot of money through it, but it was something I was passionate about and something I wanted to do. And I'm really glad that I did it, and I hope that other people can consider like following their passions like that, but also with proceeding like with caution, doing what is available to them, and just finding like who they are and what makes them happy, I guess.
Thank you so much again for your time and doing this interview with me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Is that we don't have these preconceived notions, and we're willing to listen to our membership and read the room, read college athletics and how it's connected and how it's not, and take what we have expertise in championships, but also throw out some of the other stuff. I remember when we first started, there were some conferences were applying their amateurism rules to all of their esports competitors, and I think we knew enough to know that no, that's not going to work in an esports culture. It's got to be very different. And by the way, the NCAA was going in a different direction. You could see that Train had already left the station on that, and so it's an incredibly dynamic area and ever changing, and will continue to change. And just as we didn't know when we started what it's going to be looking like, I think similarly we still don't know what it's going to be in another 5 years. I know enough to know that all of us are still going to have a thriving esports program that's doing a real good service for our members and for our competitors. But we still don't know necessarily what some of that is going to look like, and that's pretty cool.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ECAC. My name is Phil, joined here by Boxy once again, and we've got two new contenders here for some more collegiate action. We've got SUNY versus Loyola, Maryland. Boxy, how you feel about these two matchups today?
Well, I mean, it's one matchup, just to start it off.
Yeah, two teams in a matchup. Yeah, I should have been a little better on that, but it happens.
God damn it, John. Anyways, both teams are currently 2-1 on the scoreboard. This is week 4 of ECAC Rainbow Six, so they've both won twice, lost once. And I don't know, I kind of like the fact that, we keep putting teams that are have the same score against each other. It just kind of seems like we're going for the most balanced matchups, and I'm a fan of that. I haven't seen either of the teams play as far as I remember, so it's kind of a, we'll see when we get there. We'll cross the bridge when we get to it type of deal. But we can touch up on the maps that we're going to be seeing today while we wait for the lobby to be fully ready. So it's Border, Clubhouse, and Chalet in that order. You have any thoughts on that?
Well, it's still like I say roughly default. Chalets turned a lot more into the competitive pool recently for every tier, but Border still a bit of a shocker to most. I think funny enough, we've actually seen it here at ECAC quite a couple of times actually. I think you and I casted that
Last week,
map.
yeah.
Yeah, we casted that last week when I had my whole power dilemma, which did not happen today, hence why we started
Yet.
the broadcast roughly on time. Wasn't my fault for once, thank God. And yeah, I mean, besides that, yeah, you have, going to Clubhouse, which is one of the oldest standing maps in the competitive pool since I don't even know how long it's been still in the competitive pool. Received a couple of reworks, but besides that, it's still the same Clubhouse. And then Chalet, which, like I mentioned, received a lot more love recently.
Has Club ever been removed? I think it was in the map pool constantly. Like, even when it was reworked, I think it was in there, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's ever been removed, just reworked a lot of times. And yeah, it's one of the oldest standing maps in the game still. I think there's only a couple that might be older than it, technically speaking, but it has been around since I think year number 1. So really cool to still see it, doing well to an extent. It is still a fairly 50-50 sided map, but waiting on ours for lobby, which means ready. So we're waiting to see if everyone's fully prepared to get into this best of 3 matchup. So it'll only take a couple more seconds.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can get into it. Whatever, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we already have our observer of Ma XD, our Wordle champion, already confirmed that we're good to go. And yes, we are. We'll take a look at the roster since I was able to take a little screen capture of it, because honestly, these are some of the coolest names I think I've ever seen in collegiate history. You've got Salami Mommy, which is awesome. It's even spelt with an I as well for mommy, so it's like matching salami. Absolutely genius. 10 billion IQ. Bean Boozled, that's an old one. That's retro. You got Hell Sent, which we can say, it's not like technically a swear, but still, really nice name. You've got Mad Game Man. Mad Gamer Man would probably be better, but still, you get the point across. And don't forget the 12. Mad Game Man 12 at the end. Then TP for short. He's got a much longer enunciation of it, but I'm going to be honest, I already forgot it, and he said TP for short is going to be the go-to.
Wasn't it TP Raids 21?
Thank
I think.
you. See,
Yeah.
you always got my lower half of the ideology. Thank you so much, Matt. So that's what
You're
we got
welcome.
for full, but we'll probably stick to TP for short. It's much simpler. Jalen on the opposing side from Maryland. Mary popping off, fitting since they're on the team of Maryland. Nova, I give free hugs, and Saint 40777. I wonder if the numbers mean anything. Probably not, but I kind of hope it does. That would be cool.
Yeah, okay, let's quickly touch up on the operator bends as well, since we are getting into round 1. First was Knock, which you were telling me is quite common nowadays. I've been away for a while. Second one is Thatcher, so nothing has changed. And then Velk and Mira, something that you would have seen back in my days as well. So any thoughts before we get into round 1?
Not really. It extremely standard.
No thoughts.
It's no thoughts go on in my head whatsoever. I am just a blank canvas for Twitch to decide what I might be thinking at any given moment. I mean, Nook, you're probably going to want to roam a lot more effectively in terms of what you want to do on a round. There's a lot of good potential for setting up extensions where you can fall back rather safely. So if you don't have to worry about another angle of attack, that could also help prolong your roam extensions. We did see for a moment that Maryland were actually opting to go and bring out the Azami, which is a fantastic pick for this map. But they think of it a little differently when they have more time to consolidate, and instead are opting for more of a bunker-style defense. I could still imagine someone might want to extend in a CCTV room, since you can make a rotate hole back into sight quite easily from that spot, but with a lot less utility, because Azami, it's normally her job to extend in that part of the map. And yeah, you're seeing that extension made right now by Maryland. Quick little bailiff shot done by Jalen. So whenever they get enough pressure from that position, they can fall back, go to site if they need to. And then the rest of the defensive setup looks like they're going to just maybe extend a little bit into offices and call it a day at that.
Yeah, well, I agree with pretty much everything you said. I do wonder how the attackers will go about this round 1. Or will it be a CC push and then go into Armory, try and breach that? Will it be an office push? What has been the standard recently?
Mostly getting CCTV control first and foremost, because it embodies so much of a clear for the offense.
Order 101?
Yeah, you can deny literally every attack from CCTV. You have someone going top east, bam, there's someone now break room shooting you from catwalk. You want to go to main wall in the lockers, bam, there's a guy still CCTV. He's gonna poke and prod at you, giving an opponent more time to swing from the actual bomb site. So that's target number 1. SUNY completely aware of that. they're going to opt to deal with this player first and foremost. They've got everyone on the western balcony to try to challenge him, and Saint is now here to help assist Jalen. He's got an ADS by him, so he can stay over by break room for as long as he wants to, for the most part. And if SUNY is not aware that Saint is here to assist the alibi, that could be a potential opening pick for Maryland that isn't really contested all too well.
Well, good thing that the attackers have 5 drones in their pockets and 5 already deployed on the map, so they can check out CCTV thoroughly before just pushing in. And if they do that correct, that should be 2 entry picks for them. Let's see how that goes for them, though. There we go, there. That's 1 for Henson. Can he make it 2? Saint is playing that very passively, and I'm not sure if they're actually aware of his presence there.
Small yellow ping for a moment, but still Saint is not willing to give this up. There is a player now stepping into East, but for now, they haven't actually approached by Catwalk. A spray down by Saint, still no connection on that kill. And by now, the jig is up. He pops his head. Bean Boozle's waiting on an off angle. Down the Jaeger, finished off with a quick melee by the Thermite. And now that extension has been cleared out with so many benefits for the offense. They've got 2 kills off of that. And now they can just put all their attention into offices, getting that triple wall opened up. Now forcing the hand of Maryland, whether they want to try to fall back and deal with a cutoff angle, or if they want to play here to die and maybe find a kill off of that.
Look at all the utility they still have left. 2 exothermic charges, 2 smokes, a flashbang. Like, there's so much you can still do, but you only have 50 seconds, so you need to start prepping for an execute. And Noah's gonna get a pick onto Salami Valley before quickly being refragged by Bean Boozle, but Mary pops up with one of his own. It's a 3v2 now with 35 seconds left, and the defenders, they've brought it back significantly, but they still are down in man count.
3 hugs, a little bit of damage dealt towards that Cade, and you've got TP just bouncing into sight. The Alda not able to shut down the Jackal. Hellsent goes in for the kill, and it's confirmed with that ARX. A good start so far for the offensive side of SUNY, as they're not really going to struggle all too much with clearing out that extension, getting site control, and then just taking the round in response to that man advantage.
Yeah, well, like we said, Border 101, right? So Wildcats Esports, or SUNY Poly as they're called in our game on the overlay, like, they've taken CCTV, they've droned it out, they got the picks. That was pretty much all they needed to do. From there, they had a 2-man advantage, which is already huge, but it was also huge that, you know, all of them were still up and standing and at full HP. No one even lost a sliver of HP in the first 2 gunfights, and that's just huge going into the rest of the round. And I do want to see if they can replicate their success in rounds 2 and onwards, since now Loyola have had a round to see how SUNY, or Poly rather, actually end up attacking.
Well, it's not going to be a repeat of lockers. We head down into bathroom and pillars, a site that relies a lot more on your extensions throughout the entire map. We talked about CCTV room pretty heavily last round, but for this site, you can ignore that part of the map if you want to, and instead just focus your eyes on places like customs, for example. You might see a few extensions over by server room / workshop if you want to dip your hands in that pot for the moment. And for an upstairs presence, it usually is just by lockers or maybe like archive / offices, as those 2 areas have points of fallback through the hatches. Sure, CCTV has a fallback option too, but then that begins to tie into your extension of customs, which is usually your make or break, and normally you don't want to give the attackers more areas to approach from that part, since they can already go through the tension wall, they can go in from the outside heading in the stock. There's a lot of areas of weakness for customs, so you don't want to add that hatch plus verticality to the mix of that. So usually if you are extending up above, it's normally just towards lockers and offices.
Yeah, the defense of Loyola seems to be spread quite thin. Like, we've seen them put down utility and then hold customs and supply. We've seen them up above playing the verticals, and of course they still need to hold aside because there is a window through which you can just jump onto B and plant, and that is actually something that we've laughed at last week. If you remember casting Border, there was an attacker that just jumped into towers on round, I don't know, in the first 15 seconds of the round, and was just in there for about 2 minutes before someone even noticed them, just crouching inside. So I'm not sure if I'm a fan of Loyola being spread out as much as they are, but maybe it takes Poly by surprise, and, you know, they end up taking advantage of that.
Same info being gathered here by Bean Boozle. They locate Jay. Is the hatch actually reinforced? Yes, it is. So the Mute's kind of trapped inside of office room for the time being, but he still downs the Thermite and kills him with a headshot. The SMG-11 to secure that one. I'm really surprised no one was there to back up Bean Boozle. Your Thermite is the first point of contact. That does seem rather dangerous. He could have opened up the triple wall instead and really forced the hand of Jalen. And that's been turned against the offense now as Saint finds a frag onto Salami Mommy. Jalen almost good for 2, but that player just evades him down the hallway. And now Mad Game Man might actually be able to creep his way from Archives to deal with this player still stuck by offices. And he just locates his body as well. He knows he's trapped in this corner, but he's going to need backup to really put the hurt on this lone mute. If Jalen's able to find another kill up above, that could be wraps for SUNY.
Oh.
But thankfully for the offense, they get that kill.
Yep. Well, a very impactful kill, but again, 50 seconds to work with. You only have 3 attackers left, so you need to push together. Well, make that a 3v3. Hellsend finds Castle as well, and that's I give free hugs off the board. So that's a lot more even footing and plenty of time to work with. But again, you need to start planning your execute, and from what I can tell, most of Folly attackers are just kind of sectioned off one by one, Hellsend pushing by themselves, and then the other person's rotating around with a diffuser while someone is holding east. You need to stick together, go for those refrags, and I'm not sure if Poly are actually going to do that by the looks of it. There's still someone playing in Vents and Workshop, and that could be dangerous as well. But let's see how it actually ends up playing out.
Oh, and there's no info by the offense as well. Good kill for TP, but Mary's there to respond on the Mad Game Man. Hellsend has to deal with this deployable shield as well. Not too much of an entryway into the bomb site with that. Good play off the info there for Nova, just waiting for someone to underexpose themselves, and Mary popping off gets the final kill as well. Good response there by Maryland, and really forcing the hand of SUNY as well to make them fully commit to that execute, which they weren't fully prepared for.
I mean, losing your thermite early on in the entry gunfight, and, you know, especially with the side hatch being reinforced instead of opened up, was just, I think, the point where it started falling apart for Poly, and they could never quite bring it back, although they did tie it up for at least a little bit, man count-wise. But going into the next round, your beloved Azami is being picked for, I believe, the first time in the game, but there's also a more interesting operator that we haven't seen as much, at least to my knowledge, and that's Tachanka.
I haven't seen him played on border in a very long time, but I like the idea that there's usually one of two ways you want to execute into the site, and the most common one, since you clear over and through office after you get control of CCTV, is by that single wall to plant behind the bomb chassis of Archives. So if you can stay inside of lockers safely with those Shimikas, you can stop a plant, and you don't have to walk into that crossfire of 90 once your player of CCTV loses that position. So I really like that idea by Jalen, and on top of that, it's just extra plant denial, which tends to be a problem for teams, especially for this bomb site, unless they're playing underneath with a pulse, which is pretty common nowadays. So you don't have to risk too much on that bottom floor, yet you still have that insurance policy in case SUNY are capable of executing into Archives, which they were last time this site was in play, and also that Azami that you mentioned too, Matt. Now you can probably extend into CCTV for much longer and much safer because of those Cubas to deny a lot of angles that the attackers would normally have to deal with you, but now those are blocked up by Azami's primary gadget to make it much easier for you to just move around the map and be more fluid.
Honestly, not the biggest fan of Poly's operator picks, because it seems like they're not learning from their mistakes. Going into the round initially, before, you know, using the attacker repick, they've had no hard breachers, and they've had Hellsend switch from the Nomad onto the Ace at the last second. So, I don't know, having Ash and Twitch and Jackal just kind of seems like your priorities are a little bit out of place. One of those should have been switched out for the hard breacher, maybe even two of them, and the air jet should be up on the board. But while I'm talking, Mary Popanov gets the entry kill, and then is Jackal gone for the rest of the round before actually getting to use his Inox scanner. So, well, roamers are free to roam, unless they get droned out by the attackers.
Well, you've got at least one person leading the charge in the CCTV room, that being Hellsent with the diffuser.
Oh yeah, the
a
hard
bit of a
breacher.
dangerous place
Again.
to start your entry as the hard breach, but it's a place that if he does die, at least you can get that diffuser recovered. It's just the aftermath of trying to get into either site without those Selmas. That could be a major issue. But for now, it's not going to be. Hellsent's still alive and well, not a single bit of damage dealt toward him, a single bullet lodged his way. And now he's looking like he's ready to maybe get aggressive and try to break those Kaid claws off the back wall, but that's going to be a really big challenge. There's still someone watching from those middle lockers close to Sandwich, and there's also another close to small office, so unless someone can throw a grenade or just help him out in some other way, this wall's going to remain intact.
How has Ash had both of her drones destroyed already, while the A still has both of them up? What is the thought process here?
Well, I guess Salami's just a lone wolf. They entry themselves, and so far it hasn't been a problem. But, again, what might be a problem is the lack of a major entryway here for the attack. They haven't cleared out that office extension, and there's still someone just causing a muck currently. I thought for a minute I found, but no, it's Mary by Archives with a really nasty one-way. If anyone goes into that direction not aware, it's a prone position, that could be huge for the defense. And speaking of huge plays, there's Nova still creeping his way by off. This is a direct trade onto the ace, and now they have to funnel in a 3v2 with such little time. This does not seem winnable here for the offense whatsoever, unless they're able to maybe kill Mary. Salami does confirm that with the R4C, but still a 2v2 with such little time and so much utility for the defense, which they might not even need. Jalen still has 2 Shamika launchers, but these one-ways already brought down by Mary are making it such a challenge for SUNY to hop into the bomb site, and they just can't even do that. The final kill goes down for the Cade, and Maryland able to redeem themselves quite well when going back to the top floor.
Yeah, honestly, at this point, Maryland, or Loyola, excuse me, seem to be my favorites. Just kind of seeing how they play as a team. On the flip side, Poly, I don't know, round 1, yes, they've won, but ever since, they've just kind of looked a little bit disoriented in their operator picks, in their droning, in their, round priorities going into the round. So I honestly think Maryland should have this, and maybe I've just cursed it because that happens very, very often. But what do you think after, the first 3 rounds?
Well, in terms of adaptability, I don't really think that it was a major focal point for SUNY or the Wildcats, in case you know them by their actual logo name, because they won that top floor site last time. And heading into this round, there's probably a good chance they could win this one as well. Customs is a very challenging site to defend because how much vertical you can establish from just getting one part of the map in your control. Also, in general, supply room / stock, whatever you prefer to call it, is a really tough site to defend, period, even without the emphasis of vertical, because you can have someone challenging you from the outside looking in, and there aren't many places you can anchor, especially when you get that detention wall opened up. So I'm really shocked that Maryland, despite having really good setups for every other site, that being lockers and bathroom, they want to go here. But also Vent is a really annoying site to defend too, so I guess if you want to go Vent, it's the lesser of 2 evils, but both sites for defenders are pretty evil because they kind of suck to defend.
Well, we'll see how Loyola end up playing in that. Again, I'm a fan of the castle being brought. I feel like he just introduces so much potential for interesting setups, and he's often overlooked, although he has been picked a little bit more recently. But look at that. Was that a counter spawn peek? I think I Give Free Hugs was trying to spawn peek there, and Salami would just cut them off guard, doubling their kills in the process.
Well, it looks like Hugs was looking to find something that wasn't a hug, and instead was given some free death, I guess, by that R4C. Well-needed change of pace here for SUNY as they now begin to, I suppose, work their way up through the CCTV extension. Well-placed nades over that little opening that was used earlier by SUNY to work a kill when clearing out CCTV on round 1. He does have a sledgehammer to open up that castle barricade, but I think they're waiting to fully coordinate this clear. Either that, or they assume it's currently just not being hosted by a defender, but now Hellset will locate that lone Wamai up above, deals 1 pop shot onto him, and now you've got that extension somewhat being cleared. The sledge as well of Bean Boozle will try to force back the Wamai even further, and now he's just stuck in a corner. He's praying that he can maybe bring somebody down to the grave with him before he dies, but it doesn't seem likely. Oh, here's a hop out by him. Oh, but Hellset, the reaction! It almost catches him off guard, but here's the hop out, gets the detection on his screen, and swiftly deals with that Wamai.
Oh, it's happening. It's happening what always happens. I said Maryland are doing super well, and they're just falling apart by the seams. It's a 1v4 currently, as Nova has to take on 4 remaining attackers in a Hail Mary defense to try and keep Loyola ahead. Human comes out, a few pop shots pre-fire towards the metal stairs, but none connect as of yet. Playing those verticals, but looking away at just the wrong second. Goes up on the off angles, still cautious of the angles that are established above him, but no one's playing those as of yet. 50 seconds left as he goes for the reload in swing. Yellow Pink's coming out, but no enemies spotted just yet. There we go, there's the first one. Does a little bit of damage, but no kill confirmed. And again, the sledge above is establishing some more vertical pressure and angles, but nope, not even the first one. Hellsend sprints into the side and gets the final kill as SUNY Poly tie it up 2-2. Oh.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by
Hey, yo. Well, we're not sure if people hear fellow, but production saying he's muted, so I guess I'm gonna keep talking while he
How about
fixes.
now? Do you hear me now, VMix? Like here? I had to refill
Okay,
my
he's back.
VMix.
Let's
All
go.
right, Matt. I'm gonna just break the fourth wall. I pushed a cord on my PC and it unplugged my main monitor, so my screen went black for like 20 seconds, and that must have messed up my connection with VMix. So that's probably why you might have heard me for a couple seconds.
I think you're lying to us. I think your power went out again.
Don't jinx it, man. Be careful what you wish for. Anyways, I'm going to get back to this real quick, TLDR. Play for a fallback, bring a bunch of C4s, bring info ups to work off those nitro cells, and I'd say still bring the castle, because it did waste a lot of time for SUNY to actually set up that extension clear up above. But don't just leave one player up there and that's it and have them die. That's a major waste of player resources and a major waste of utility resources. So instead, maybe have Tubular playing up there and have them go for a fallback after a minute 10 or so, depending on how quick that clear happens, and then bring a boatload of nitro cells so you can stop that verticality a lot easier. But now we can move on to round 5. Sorry to talk for so long, Matt. It was a long story.
All good. I mean, I want to say I'm a fan of the Thunderbird being brought out. It feels like a lot of times Maryland players get into those gunfights where they're nicked for damage. They take a bullet or two, but they end up escaping with their life. So being able to heal up for subsequent gunfights is definitely a huge thing. Okay, I was going to comment on the Jackal not having a scope, but I think it's just a visual bug, because when they ADS'd, it was actually kind of there-ish. So that's a new one for me. But again, entry goes to the way of Poly as they take out the Jaeger. Saint on 1-5 currently, so not their match as of yet. And they will have to switch something around going into the second half of the game if they want to keep Loyola ahead.
Well, so far, so good here for SUNY. Jalen once again playing in a death spot, and Bean Boozle is there to make sure he will not be as successful as he was up above when playing Mute back in round number 2. You've got free hugs with a nice shot through the hatch, I think it was, on the Hell Scent, and he's still keeping strong over by Custom. So now get aggressive as he can walk right in front of the Ash. Yes, he will. No information about Salami Mommy's position. That's going to net themselves one nice opening pick for now. So the man advantage swiftly brought back here for the offense. They're still getting vertical down. It seems like everything has now been taken into account by SUNY. Another kill for the Ash. Good placement there to guarantee that last one, leaving just Mary Poppin. The 1vx potential could be big if they find another kill, and they'll do just that. In the background, I believe the hard wall gets opened up by server side, and a flank is brewing up here for Mary as well. This could be massive, since I don't think anyone's currently watching this. Spots that one player, but the trigger discipline! It almost fails Mary, but they line up for him. A quadra kill for the Cade, and the round win for Maryland.
Was that a 1v3 or a 1v4 even? That was huge.
I think it was still a 1v4. Actually,
that's amazing.
Yes, it was.
Okay, well, let's go. Also, the castle sprinting at Salami Mommy on Ash, the only explanation I can think of for someone sprinting at someone else that way is that they wanted to give him a free hug, and it didn't work out. So
It's in the
shut
name.
down.
Could be it.
It is. But Salami Mommy takes no prisoners and no free hugs either, apparently. We've mentioned them not doing that well in the first 3 rounds. They were 0-2, but now I'm pretty sure they've popped off a bit. Okay, well, still 4-5, so not as well as I thought. But, you know, slowly getting there, working towards the 1.0 KD and above, and let's see if they can reach that in round number 6, as it is the last round of the half. And after this one, we'll be seeing Loyola attacking and Poly trying to defend the bomb sites that they're just attacking now.
This side overall has gone pretty 50-50. You had round 1, where you had SUNY do a really good job of finding those opening kills, getting CCTV controlled, and converting that to go offices. And then the round after that, or the round preceding round 2, which led back to this top floor, then that is when you had a much different change of tone for Maryland, and that was mostly because of the Azami having a lot of cool one-off angles, and it was a much bigger emphasis on wanting to stop that CCTV control. You had people by the main hallway poking and prodding. You had a guy top east. Funny enough, I think that was Saint just on the Momai, but now he's in a much more mobile op of the Vigil, so if he needs to get out of there, he can, and probably have some info denial as well with it. So I like the option here for Maryland to still be rather aggressive in the opening round to make sure SUNY cannot set up properly. And that could once again work out for them because overall, nothing much on the lineup has changed besides maybe Mad Game Man on the Flores, which is probably to counter the Azami a little bit more because how many Roteras you can bring to break down those Kivos.
I'm pretty sure we've seen the Flores before, at least 1 or 2 rounds, but there we go. The entry, once again, I think that's the 4th time in a row, goes to SUNY Poly, and let's see if they can retain their advantage. Again, the no-scope bug that is just extremely funny to me. This is my first time seeing it, so, well, just wanted to point that one out. Anyways, a minute into the round, 5v4 looking good for Poly, but there's still a few roamers to deal with, if I'm not mistaken. And there we go, Slime Mommy just droning themselves in once again. Not a fan of that, but we'll touch upon it later. Saint gets their 2nd kill of the game as Flores falls, so, well, no Azami Kunai deny. That's a rhyme that I didn't intend on. Slime Mommy picks up Saint quite fast, though, so there's that.
Now you've got good control here for the Wildcats. And so far, there hasn't really been a lot that can really stop them from continuing onward besides maybe Nova. We've seen them pop off in this position before, but old habits tend to die hard, quite literally, as Bean Boozle is going to tear the head off of that Malusi still playing by offices. Now leads us another 4v2. We have seen Mary win these positions quite literally a round ago. And Free Hugs, if they remained a little bit more persistent playing by Metal Detector, they could maybe find this kill as well. C4 gets tossed out, the Ash almost running right into it, and now creates a rotate. She could just ignore the Cade if she wants to and help deal with this player over by Archives, but it might be better for her just to hold the cutoff on this Cade. If 3 attackers can isolate this poor guy stuck in Archives, that could be a major way for SUNY just to get site control, get that diffuser down since Bean Boozle's still alive with that case in his back pocket, and force a retake by Hugs, who quite literally has no safe way of getting into the site or stopping that plant since their Nitro Cell has been shut down.
The fact that no one's pushing armory doors either is not sitting quite right with me. Creating a pressure from a 3rd angle would have been detrimental here, but the plant starts going down. I give Free Hugs, finds 1 though, so it is a 3v2. Bean Boozle about to finish the plant, but shut down by Mary Poppins. And now the attackers, they need to push. Another one takes a lot of damage, but survives. There we go, cleaned up by Mary Poppins as the attackers just forgetting to shoot back. That's one for health then, but I give Free Hugs is there to shut it down and confirm a 4-2 lead for Loyola going into the 2nd half on Border.
I think TP just got like some wicked bad audio. He was looking at the window into offices and then turned around back into office itself instead of challenging the guy who killed his planter. Either that or a bad call, but wow.
I hated when I put my headset on backwards, don't you?
I mean, I don't think I've... maybe on my really cruddy HyperX headset I had that. I wouldn't call it a cruddy one, it was just a cheaper one. So can't really judge a book by its cover, but yeah, I think
Max
I've only had
said
that
Jackal
happen.
is fighting his demons.
Dude,
I just wanted to share that with everyone.
Yeah, spoken by our favorite wordsman and Wordle champion, Max D or Ma XD, in case you really know him that well. Yeah, I don't know what just happened there, but that should have been a win for SUNY. First off, you have the really heavy aggression by the Ash, which it was Hugs to actually punish that. So now there's no more cutoff angle, and he wasted no time getting back into the other site to help assist Mary. That was a really good call made by the Cade, given the circumstances there on that round. But now heading into the 2nd half, SUNY, aka the Wildcats, they got to just reset, pretend like that round just didn't happen, and try their best on the defense. For some teams, this map can be a little more defender-favored, but again, there's only 2 really defender-favored bomb sites, and I'd say it's maybe this site, depending on how you slice it, and then Bathroom Tellers. After that, it's kind of a wasteland in terms of what you can get away with.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Border, who was by last week played 4 times in NAL, it is slightly attacker-sided at 51 attacker-side win rate, so there's that, just a fun stat for you. But going into the 2nd half, who do you think takes it? Do you think Loyola, they keep their advantage? Because first half was close, I think a lot closer than many would have expected, including me. But do you think this changes now, or are we going to keep seeing the same trend up until the end of map 1?
Well, if Maryland can still work off that momentum, this could be a win for them. But again, a 4-2 half isn't really uncommon. The way that SUNY lost that last round, it could have went 3-3 if that hadn't happened. So both teams still really at each other's throats despite the round differential currently. And Maryland, it seems like their attack style might benefit the comp that SUNY's running. They've got 3 Nitro Cells, one of them being wielded by a Pulse, who could deny the plant if they overextend. There go the smoke grenade, C4 to follow out, but the shield denies it perfectly. Another one gets wailed over, but it hits the top of the filing cabinet. The Montaigne dodges it. Unbeknownst to him, he could have died right there. And finally he does, but his job's already been done. It's the retake now that has to work, but so far it's doing miracles for SUNY. They shut down 3 separate players. It's up to the sniper of Mary and Jalen, who's on the Capitao, trying to stall with that LMG. Still the weird optic bug, but he looks at things completely fine. 20 seconds to go. They've got to close this gap. Can they play off each other? So far they can't. Hellset dive bombs the poor soul by AC, but Bean Boozle kills the sniper. 10 seconds left. They need 7 overall. Mad Game has to stick this. The mute gets shut down, but here comes the double swipe. Salami goes for a team kill, but it won't matter because the Cade remains persistent on that disable, and the defense still take the win.
How do you have your Montaigne die from a run out from the office window that 2 separate people were, there to watch? How does that happen?
I don't think he died to the run out. No one was there to run out yet.
Yeah, that was the run out. That was the office window run out. Yeah.
I'm gonna go back.
That's how he died. His shield was up, and looking towards the bomb side. He got shot from behind.
Max did a beautiful job of catching all of that with a nice top-down view. So maybe I'm just stupid. I think I'm dumb, period, but I did thought
you call him Max D. You call him Max D. I call him Max. Is what our homies like that.
Maxi Poo. I thought you were gonna say that.
Maxi
That's a really old one too. That's one for the labels. Speaking of putting labels on each team. Speaking of putting labels on things, I did put a label last round saying this game could still be rather close despite the round differential, and SUNY did a good job of confirming my suspicion because I had a very clean retake, and although Maryland had a good setup to get that diffuser down, the aftermath was a little more gritty than what they had probably expected. SUNY now opting to go for the well-known strat of when in doubt, trap it out, so they've got several different trap operators, more specifically Bean Boozle on the Capcan and then Mad Game Man on the Frost. But for a site like Bathroom Tellers where you have a lot of the map at your disposal, it's not a bad idea to bring traps because one wrong corner, one area you don't check with full vigilance, you could get blown up by some shrapnel, or you could get caught by your ankle in a bear mat and then die. So not a bad idea, I'd say, for SUNY to bring out this compilation of trap ops.
Yeah, well, the traps were also the trap operators were also probably prompted by, Loyola just sprinting in, throwing down 5-6 smokes and planting last round. I feel like that's what really caused SUNY to reevaluate their defensive operator picks and bring out a few traps here and there. And I do want to see how Loyola end up attacking this. Last round, it seems they've forgotten that the round doesn't instantly end after you plant. You still need to hold that diffuser for 38 seconds before you can die, because, it takes 7 seconds to defuse, 45 seconds overall. Regardless, though, I'm not sure if Loyola are going to go for a fast push again. Doesn't seem like it. Just a minute or a whole minute into the round, rather, and we haven't seen any engagements yet. Seems like Loyola taking it pretty slow, droning things out this time around, and that's what all my homies love to see, man. Oh, never mind.
Oh, not another one. Oh, that's brutal. Miss input on the info there.
No.
Oh, that would have been
close.
That could have been just the round over. I think it's slowed down at the very least.
I would have logged off. I would have gone to sleep.
That would have been like you need to take a lap around your room, which would have been pretty quick. So you would have been back in like 10 seconds. But Salami Mommy, wow, making lemons out of lemonade right there. I did the wording wrong. Lemonade out of lemons. No, I was right the first time. All right, whatever. Anyways, SUNY had a good start on the road, obviously, because Jalen was not expecting someone to be in that corner, so missed drone there by the offense. But they still have a couple cluster charges to work off of, and a bit of hard breach, but they don't know Hellsen's still up here. He lingers by East Stairs, and now he's by Catwalk. On another one if he's quick on the draw. There's an air jab blasted on his feet. Oh, there's no way.
No!
This is not looking good for the offensive side. Oh, just barely.
This is not looking good for anyone, to be honest, man.
Oh my goodness. Saint just barely gets away with that kill, but so worse for wear. Oh, and there's the cleanup crew by Bean Boozled. Oh, man. Absolutely no flank watch there for either staircase, and that pays Maryland a very hefty cost of now 4v1 or 3v1, actually.
Well, I mean, Aya Freehouse has their job cut out for them. There's 3 attackers, defenders ready to take care of. And keep in mind, there's still the Capcan traps, the Frost traps, some deployable beepers, and only 20 seconds to work with. They have the Fuser, they don't check the corner, and Beam Boozled finds the final headshot in the round. The SUNY take one more off of Loyola, and I'm slowly shifting towards Poly being my favorites. I know I'm, a fair weather fan, but that's just how it is.
I think you just need to like stop making like out of pocket predictions like that. They just like never favor you. Like this is like some deep boxy lore of like saying, oh yeah, I think team XYZ is gonna win. Then it's like ABC. I don't know. Maybe it's a language barrier. Maybe you meant something else.
I don't like it. Like I've told you in the green room before going live, the dumber I look and the worse I sound, the better you end up looking. So you're welcome. I'm doing you a service.
But you know what? You did yourself a service. You were right about the Montaigne dying. I went and watched it back on the VOD. You were absolutely correct. I'm just stupid. So I guess we're even now. And now both the Wildcats and Maryland are even too. So you can look at it from that new perspective as well. Still seems like for the Wildcats, they want to bring out at least a little bit of trap ops. Game Man opted to go for the Frost once again, although it didn't find much success. The ideology is still there, has good reasoning behind it to back it up. And now Maryland, their lineup looks about the same too. I can imagine they're double checking their corners though, and they go on that roam clear because it seemed like they were relying a little bit more on just assumption of, hey, this is a really dumb angle to be playing in. Why would someone be there? So they don't check it. And sometimes that's justified because you are on a 3-minute timer, technically 1 minute if you want to clear out the roam game in a manageable fashion. But it doesn't hurt to just half check it and just double check to make sure someone is there or isn't.
Yep. I like the fact that we keep seeing a lot of like not necessarily off angles, but also not super predictable angles being played by defense at any time, whether that's SUNY Poly defending or Maryland defending. I feel like they've gotten creative with a lot of angles, and even one ways with Azami when she's been brought, which, isn't the case this round, but still, I should point that out. Regardless, Loyola, they're using their drones, and that's what they didn't do properly, at least last round, so hopefully the tides turn in favor once again.
Well, now we've got Hell Sent in the angle that Salami Mommy was running earlier, probably commenting, hey, they didn't drone this spot last time. I bet you could find a kill here, and they actually do double check it. So I'm glad there's a small adjustment there by Maryland. Overall, their droning last round wasn't horrible, just it was a blunder that they didn't double check that one angle. But now they did. So no opening death just yet. Some working their way in through archives. I think Hell Sent is aware of that. But can they find the kill? Not quite. Still the fuse is waiting here. Probably knowing there's someone by office.
You know what they say, right? Like, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and in this case, the single step was checking that corner with the drone before sprinting in. So, there you go. That's one of your 1,000 miles. But that's going to be the entry as Slime Mommy falls, and that could be devastating for SUNY Poly, as alongside Beam Boozled and Hellsend, Slime Mommy has been one of the main fraggers for their team, as Mad Gamerman 12 and GP are both kind of trailing behind in kills. That's one for Hellsend though. Make that no, not two, as Mary popping off will shut them down, but that was very close. Habana on below, sub 50 HP to work with for the round, but Beam Boozled will fall as well as Jalen will find a headshot onto them. I Give Free Hugs is down, but then gets revived. So it is a 4v2, but one bullet will put I Forgive Free Hugs out of contention for the rest of the round. Trying to breach the hedge there, but it is KD'd, and yeah, you can probably get it by just shooting next to it, right? That should open it up.
Surely it works with the X-Kairos charges. It can work with a Thermite charge and even a Selma too. But so
but
far
you need more X-Kairos on a hatch, right? Like,
it takes
there's a
4.
damage cap. Yeah.
And that one just didn't work. You could probably use a secondary breach. I bet if Hugs goes over there, you could get that opened up, but he might need to save it for something else perhaps too. If they want to go for the execute in mind, which might just be a hatch drop, 20 seconds to go. We've got Game trying to work a pick by Stock, and they're shut down on the rotation. Good catch by Mary. They even just TP to try to stop this one, and they're not going to. I think we caught someone down on a frost mat off screen, but besides that, still a 3v1. Still, you're stuck in sight, which is a really tough position when you're in either vent or server. And there goes the round, and the advantage back to Maryland, now at 5-4.
Well, Loyola, they finally got around, but SUNY Poly, I can hear them saying in their comms right now, guys, we're all in this together. Let's do this, Wildcats. And hopefully they can tie it up. We could be going into overtime on map 1. just to start the series off. I don't think we've actually mentioned this before, so if anyone's new, just tuning in into ECAC R6 for the first time today, this is a best of 3, meaning that we will be seeing at least 1, if not 2 more maps after this. And if I'm not mistaken, next one is Clubhouse and the Decider Chalet?
Yeah.
Also, you said you didn't watch High School Musical. Why are you getting my references now?
I could tell just by like what you were trying to go for there. I was like, that just sounds too cheesy for Matt to say like out of pocket. That has to be a reference. So
how have you not seen High School Musical though? That's my question.
I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of movies back then, I guess. Mock it up to that. Maybe a poor childhood. I don't know. But
High School Musical watch party with fellow. I think ECAC should host the event. Who do I talk to?
Someone had offered me that. You know, coincidentally, I think I got asked about me watching High School Musical like a week ago, and someone brought that up to me as well. Oh, that was Scott. That was Infernosis. He asked me about it, and
we're watching that.
He offered me to watch it when he comes up north to visit his girlfriend. Doesn't live too far away from me, so it'll be a whole get together. Maybe I'll invite you too if you can fly out here.
Hell yeah, I'll fly out for a High School Musical watch party. But speaking of watch parties, there's a lot of people watching how Loyola are going to take on SUNY in round number 10. They have 1 round advantage, but that's not enough. You lose this one and you're back to 5-5. So this round, detrimental for Loyola. If they win, they could put it onto match point, and that creates a lot of pressure for Poly. And I'm not sure how they can deal with that pressure mentally.
So you had Bean Boozle gathering a lot of good info over between custom/detention. I think he was actually looking through passport at the beginning. Potentially, if Maryland don't acknowledge where the pulse is, that could maybe be a free kill or 2 if he's lucky with that C4 toss. Also, if people do remain stagnant and just start droning in CCTV, you can just wall bang with his gun. Although a weak damaging weapon to that UMP, you could still kill somebody with a nice timed headshot. There goes an opening there for Jalen, not a direct one with his body, but at least a sight line for him to use. He did shoot the second Selma. Don't know if that was intentional or not. Probably wasn't intentional, since you would probably like to enter the building from there at the very least, but probably not a big difference in the grand scheme of things. Poly still holding their own for now, waiting for Maryland to make that first move, and it seems like for Maryland, they have a little bit of presence over by Archives window. I think that's just for a cutoff angle, and the rest of the offense is still setting up through both CCTV and lockers. And speaking of that cutoff angle, it nets free hugs, a free kill if you want to put it into that perspective.
Yep, well, TP gets poo-pooed on, and he may need some TP to compensate for that. Okay, that was what a shitty joke. Get it? No. Anyways, Twitch drone comes in, drones out the Cade, Yellow Pink's coming out, isn't destroyed quite yet, and now there's going to be pressure put on Mad Gamer. They haven't had the best of games so far, but now is their time to shine. The smokes are being deployed, as are the track singers, and Saint finds a kill onto Hellsend and loses just a tiny nick of HP. So it's a 5v3 currently for Loyola, as Mad Gamer also loses a lot of HP there in the gunfight, doesn't dish out any in return though, and all the C4s on the defensive side have been burned out. On the flip side, the attackers still have so much to work with, and you see the Capital uses crossbow to deploy the bolt. Slime Mommy takes a lot of damage, but finds a kill right before being refrapped. The plant is now being attempted. Mad Gamerman finished off as well. Still up to Bean Boozled, but it doesn't last for long as Loyola push it onto match point.
Agreed.
And, well, the Wildcats, they need to get their head in the game. Sorry, get off. Go off.
Okay, I'll go off. Thanks, King.
All right.
Well, I'd say for Maryland, had a pretty good idea of wanting to get into the bomb site there and bring out those Capital bolts. It denied a lot of potential sight lines. I think it, Max was saying they created one-ways. It was a little hard to spot that in the top to bottom view, but I think he was able to catch a glimpse of that just beforehand. So if that's correct, that is incredibly well done by Maryland to maybe use the Capital bolts a little bit higher on the walling so they could actually see the feet of the defense to make sure they know when to get off of the plant and when they are expecting a gunfight. But again, still a good setup by Maryland altogether. They had someone on the cutoff, that being Hugs. There's the first kill. And I think SUNY just weren't able to respond quick enough to actually rotate into lockers. I think they were expecting more of an Archives plant there. So again, the read by Maryland was really well thought out. And again, the rotate by SUNY was a little bit too slow to actually bounce back. And now that they're a little more aware that that is an option for the offensive side, they're going to opt to go back to lockers and hope they can make this a 5-7 score, or 5-6 score line, sorry, rather than it being a 7-4 score line and having a clubhouse happen. I wouldn't say rather soon, but sooner than what the Wildcats would hope for.
Yeah, well, I agree with you. And like we said, it is match point, which puts Maryland in such a good spot. It's now up to Poly to win 2 rounds in a row to even keep themselves in contention for the potential map win. So all the pressure is on them. Maryland are just chilling, but also defense was their dominant side. The attacks have been more clunky, and I can't find a word. Maybe sloppy. So Poly can definitely do it, but it's gonna be tough.
We take a look at what has worked for them in the past. Probably just that, I suppose, a chaos element really on their roams. Being so effective at winning that opening kill and then really keeping the hurt on them, just keeping that tempo in their favor, and also having a good idea as to how Maryland are going to default into this round. Now maybe expecting more pressure by Archives. They'll be a little more cognizant of that since they at least expect one guy by Archives window. But the doorway has been opened up too. The entryway from that balcony could be another way for Maryland to win this round outright if they can get that diffuser down. And Hugs, once again, beautiful shot onto the same person. TP is once again that opening death in almost the exact same position that he was in last time. And with the emphasis of this Twitch, since there's no mute in nearby at all to stop it, you can get that single wall opened up. A plant could most certainly go down in the next couple of seconds once Maryland are aware that office is clear. They're drilling that out right now. So again, it really is only a matter of time.
Oh, the tracks falls through the hatch, but the smoke still being deployed, and Saint will try and plant, get taken off though, and that's actually a team kill by Mary Poppin Slime on the water zone, and it's all falling apart for Loyola. Beam Boozled finds one though, but Nova there on the refrag. This could be a start of something new for the Wildcats. 4v3 and still 75 seconds to work with. Oryx still in CC, holding that patiently, but no one's actually pushing from that side, so now it's up to the Oryx to rotate around, or at least try and deny the Capital. That isn't happening though, but Jaeger will swing out just a second too late and will not catch the Capital as he creeps through the bomb side. And I'm pretty sure there's only one defender on side, so that's very doable here for Maryland. Tracks will come in clutch as well. There we go. That's the first one, and now both remaining defenders off site. How quickly will Maryland realize this though? Maybe not fast enough. Let's see if they attempt another plant.
Oh, Mary's got the cutoff too. Oh, this is so big for the offensive side. Mary wins that kill. A very important fight to have for the offense. And they bounce back. Such a sloppy execute from the get-go, but they managed to work it out somehow. A 2v1 post plant. Salami's a 90, and still that cutoff angle is something they have to deal with. And because no one opened up any walls in Archives, Mary can sit here quite comfortably. There goes the Capital Bolt too. So there's no safe way for the Orcs to enter in from. They'd have to hop the hatch, but that's still just as dangerous as walking through the literal fire and flames. And there's not much time. Salami mommy, make up your mind, honey. You gotta get in the building. You gotta try something. The Capital Bolt runs out. Good kill on a Mary. But now you have to dodge this entire trap of a room. So many track singers to deal with, such little time. There's none of it left. Nova gets the kill for compensation, and Maryland take the map after somehow bringing back that round.
Well, there we go. I did call it initially, didn't I? Maryland, or Loyola rather. Well, I guessed that it was a 50-50. But my prediction score just went up, so there's that. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we're going to take a quick break. But before we do you just want to quickly recap everything that we've seen on Border so far coming out from both teams and what we can expect going into Clubhouse, which is an even more common map? Keep in mind, this was the Wildcats map pick, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check up on that. Yeah, this was Wildcats pick, Border.
Okay, well, I mean, I guess that makes sense because it wasn't really what they were and weren't expecting or like map knowledge. It was more or less playstyle, I think, that managed to kind of mess them up towards the end of that round because you had Maryland changing up how they think about attacking rounds towards like the middle point of the second half. And that drastically improved their stock. They were like, okay, we've got our opponents being agile. They're very aggressive. Let's just try to take a step back and keep things simple. And they stopped going for these elaborate extension clears and just kind of hit the site at full force. And that worked significantly better for them. So if we don't see that change up too by SUNY as well on a map like Clubhouse, which again is a very standard map, a map you kind of have to be aggressive on too to keep your full force on defense, this could most definitely be a win for Maryland. No questions asked, since they did just win their opponent's map pick. And just based off of, educated guessing and statistics, you are statistically more likely to win your map pick than your opponent. So, I mean, that just makes sense. Don't really need to over elaborate on that one. That's kind of a gimme at that point. So Maryland really looking good, but to see if they can continue that, success, we'll take a quick little break and be back to get Clubhouse underway. See you in a bit.
So you all are used to, dealing with your athletic directors, and each of them are dealing with what's in front of them in their athletic departments. My guess is at least some of your schools are that this is not necessarily operating within the athletic department. And can you talk about how you navigate that in a conference office? And maybe the best way to handle that, or do you have preferences? Do you try to steer them one way or the other? And just talk a little bit about that if you don't mind.
Sure. The majority of our schools are not under the athletics umbrella. We have one institution that perhaps by next year will be under the auspices of athletics, but most of them are in other departments across campus.
Right.
One of the things that has helped us is that we have support from the president's office. And so in order to participate in Mountain West events, you have to have an adult non-student administrator that oversees that, the eSport program. And that's where we get assistance with, eligibility checks and, please complete your roster, things like that. I don't know in the future, and it depends on, who's sitting in the athletics director's chairs, whether or not more esport teams will go under the umbrella of athletics. And I'm kind of indifferent in terms of whether it should, because I don't want esports to go down the road that some conventional sports have gone down with the NCAA. So we have a unique opportunity to kind of craft esports in a way that fits what esports is, as opposed to trying to fit it into a conventional athletics box, so to speak.
Right.
I think the success of our program and getting participation is exactly that. The fact that we're not tying it in necessarily to athletics and NCAA eligibility. Like Carolyn, we probably have 3 or 4 schools that are under athletics. And I know it puts them in a difficult position sometimes trying to make some decisions. I got a request recently to consider allowing part-time students to participate during this year, because some schools struggle sometimes to fill out all the games that they want to play with us. And we held off on that for now. We defer to the institution and say, what's your policy for those that are under student development or activities? What's your policy for allowing students to participate? And if you certify that they're eligible under your current policies, then that's good for us. I also think, and I was part of some of the conversations early on with the NCAA years ago about the NCAA getting involved as a Division II representative, and I was crossing my fingers that wouldn't happen, just because I think this needs time to grow, and expand.
Can I ask Bob a question, because you mentioned part-time enrollment, and one of the things that we've done here is that as a conference, we've just set eligibility standards, full-time enrollment, making progress towards your degree as the institution defines it. Are you guys doing something like that as well? Because we've gotten that part-time enrollment question and we've said no.
Yeah, no, I don't think we've gotten that far down the line, Carolyn, to ask for that. I think we kind of put it on the institution, but we do say that the student has to be a full-time. Now, they could be a full-time grad student, but they have to be full-time as from what the institution decides.
Yeah, our eligibility requirements are just as simple as can be. You have to be a full-time student in good standing.
Yes.
And after that, and that's about it. Now I think we wanted as few impediments to getting this thing rolling as possible in the outset. I do think as schools get more competitive, they will start to distrust one another, and that's why we have this 500-page NCAA manual, because schools distrust one another. But we're not there yet. Right now there's still a collective, let's move this forward. And the fact that the NCAA is not administering it, I think, is really helpful to the growth of it all. And yes, we allow grad students. We don't even have a 4 or 5 year clock. If you are full time enrolled for 10 years in good standing, you can do. And why not? Why would we not say that that's okay? Now, eventually, like I said, we may change our minds if the schools require it. They say, no, this is crazy. Look what they're doing over there. We don't like, but I think we're still a long way from that. Alex, do you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, I echo everything that really Carolyn has said. You're gonna have to forgive me. What was the original question? It's been a minute. I know. I'm sorry.
Well, just kind of what you set out to do, and then what maybe the realities of it.
And there's so many other jobs as well that can translate out of this experience in esports. The only path is not just as a player. I think all of us are representative of jobs in esports, but it mirrors traditional sports in pretty much the same way. You've got broadcasters, you've got production people, you've got marketing and sales, and now NIL and things like that. But really, esports is kind of a great accelerator for a lot of new businesses that are coming up in the metaverse and Web3, and there's a lot of new technology that is going to be needed. And so these STEM students that are also esports athletes are really the future workforce and leaders of tomorrow. And us, as well as all of our brand partners that we work with, really recognize this. And I think that's really, a key driver of why brands are in this space. They want to be part of building that future workforce and leadership and shaping it and supporting it. So, yeah, it's been a very interesting space to watch.
And we offer such a big, we offer such a big counterpart to traditional sports also, because it's a counterpart, but it's also the same, is what I'm trying to say. Because when you're traditional sports and they're done after their 2-a-day workout and they're done after their practice scrim, they're coming home to play Call of Duty and relax and put their feet up and get a drink and play video games. It grows their brain, problem-solving skills, and their hand-eye coordination while they're home. Hand-eye coordination if you're a football player.
Welcome back, everybody, to ECAC. Hey, I'm 2 for 2. That's what I've been looking for. And hopefully you guys were looking forward to seeing if Maryland can go up 2-0 or if they're going to have to go into map number 3, that being Chalet. We've got Clubhouse on the Forte for all of you guys. And if you did miss out on what happened to map number 1, that being Border, SUNY wanted to go there, and SUNY unfortunately ended up losing. And from my opinion, that just came down to a lack of proper adaptability on where they were setting up and how they were in their defensive rounds. But on Clubhouse, things are a lot more cut and dry. So even though this is not their map pick, Clubhouse tends to be a bit more of an equalizer map for most teams. So if SUNY can forget about what happened last map and just go into this with a nice clean shave, they should be fine.
Yep. Well, let's hope they can do it. You can definitely bet on it. It's going to be an interesting match, whoever takes this one, but I would kind of like to see the decider. So I guess SUNY Poly, I'm putting my hopes in you, but let's turn our attention onto the map bands, or rather, the operator bands. It's going to be Thatcher and Nog coming in first. So we're mimicking Border so far. And if we're going to be seeing a Mira and a Valkyrie band, the bands could be completely the same. And that's honestly likely, but nope, it's not happening. It's going to be Cade band instead. So who do you think the final operator turns out to be?
Well, both teams didn't really use a lot of Valk, so probably a Mira. That's what I would assume. Mira's not horrible on Clubhouse. She's good on she's good on gym and bar, or gym and bedroom, sorry, and then the basement site. But no, it's actually a zombie, which is a significantly better band than Mira, in my opinion. She's a lot more versatile on this map. She's good on CCTV, good on any kind of extension, good for gym, good for church and arsenal. So that's a really good option by SUNY. I've got to admit to that. And especially since they weren't using any Azami, but their opponents of Maryland were, it's just one less obstacle they got to deal with. And speaking of other bands that I like, big fan of the Cade band too. Now you don't have to bring out really as much denial for those Cade claws, since, they're non-existent. So for the, church site, it's a little bit easier to attack. The worst you're going to have to deal with is impact tricking. But with Havana available, it's really tough to actually use impact tricking properly when she's in play. So it makes attacking Church a lot more easier, especially when you have the zombie band in the mix too.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, while I agree the cage band is logical and, it makes a lot of sense, we've seen both teams be quite proficient with the Twitch drones on border, so I don't think it would have been a huge problem. But of course, getting that nuance out of the way early on is still something you want to do. But it is now or never, and right here and right now for the Wildcats, as they need to tie up the map score. They're a map down. It's all on them, right? And I don't know. Hopefully they can do it.
Fingers crossed, right? I mean, everyone wants to see a good show, and that usually entails that you get a full story out of the game, so we'd have to see map 3 for that to go down. Church not being an option for round number 1, like I had mentioned, we're heading into CCTV and Cash Room with, I'd say, a pretty common lineup. You've got the Bandit to try to stop anyone from getting the main wall of Plat opened up, but there is a Maverick. So Maverick kind of hard counters a Bandit trick, so if Mary can do their job, they should be fine. And Jalen, wow, opting for a really interesting idea of lurking up main stairs and getting there as quickly as they can as the Amaru. Only problem is that the barricade has gone down between master bedroom and construction, which is usually a mistake because you're giving up map control for free. But now the element of surprise is no longer there for Jay. It's especially gone now because he just threw a drone in from bedroom. So now the defense knows for sure there's at least one person over by master bedroom.
Yeah, but the Maverick is about to start tricking, so that creates pressure from two different sides onto the defenders. And there we go, that's the entry. I give free hugs. Will peek those Maverick holes, get a kill, make that 2 instead, as both Helsen and TP are sent to the Shadow Realm by the Thermite on entry. I don't get to say that every day, but the hard wall is not electrified. It's going to get opened up thanks to Maverick and Thermite working in tandem, and it's a 5v3, more than half the round still to be played out time-wise. And the attackers, they have everything they could hope going on for them.
You've got that cross attack leading in through construction once again. Here comes Finka on the entry from that position. And now you've got the Omai stuck in a corner. And the Jaeger has no clue about the Finka in construction. Where's the communication? Where was the coverage there? None whatsoever. And now you've got another person dead on the floor for the defensive side. You still have Salami Mommy stuck in this corner. Thank God Finka no longer has grenades, or this guy would probably be blown up sky high. But across the site, you've got the plant going down. Good time swing by Salami, but it's only good for that one kill. And Bean Boozle trying to go underneath would have had an impact if they didn't waste him on rotates. So now they can't deny the plant. They've got to go up with rafter stairs instead. Deals a load of damage to the guy up there, but the favor is returned by I Give Free Hugs. A triple kill for the Thermite, I believe, is playing a bit of Pop Goes the Weasel from that Raptors position, and Maryland are going to easily take round number 1, I'd have to say.
Yeah, sadly, it seems like at least after round 1, we're just sticking to status quo. When it comes to Wildcats, they just, I don't know, I hoped I'd see a little bit more, but then again, it is just one round, so, fingers crossed this is not, or rather that round 1 was not indicative of how the entire game is gonna go. But honestly, it was just the entry fight that decided the whole game. You have 2 people on site die just off of Thermite swinging a Maverick hole, like, you're not gonna have a fun time, right?
You most certainly are not, and although CCTV is being brought again, SUNY, aka the Wildcats, are adapting a little bit. You've got Bean Boozle for better plant denial. If no one goes on the first floor, he could remain uncontested, maybe find some kills here and there. That's good. And there's no bandit tricking being attempted because there's no bandit, period. So you're not going to have as much carnage, I'd say, in the first minute without your own volition going into those engagements. So I do like that small change up. But for Maryland, they're not going to have to really change much at all about their attack, except maybe expecting the spawn peak here by Bean Boozle. That's really the only difference I could see happening on this round, but it works like a charm. And that's the Thermite dead. You only have the Maverick now for Heartbreach, and with there being no soft destructor with him, it's going to be a really tough task for him to get that plat wall fully opened up. But at the very least, he could still make a sight line into there, or maybe a really tiny, crouch hole, but that's a lot more difficult to work with than a gigantic hole that an exothermic charge tends to make on a wall.
I don't want to say the boys are back just yet, but getting the entry onto the Thermite, especially I Give Free Hugs, who had a major impact in round 1, is definitely a great start for SUNY, and hopefully this is the footing that they need. They gotta retain the advantage, and hopefully they can tie it up 1-1. 50 seconds into the round, same old. Maverick on the CCTV wall. We'll try and open it up from both above and below now, as there's no Thermite to help out with that. So your best bet is to, make the vertical holes above, below, and then have someone who has some breach capabilities take that out. But we don't actually have any breaching charges on attack, so I guess it's just going to be shooting through and making a hole big enough to hold angles off of. The Twitch drone that we spoke of earlier coming in, doing the work once again, spots no one on the mezzanine, but someone just walked up, so well, there's an opportunity missed, I guess.
Seems like bullets might be the answer to open up this wall a little bit more, as you've got the G8 currently spreading open that now soft wall from Platt leading into the site. But it's not really going to do a whole lot besides just making some openings. Not a one big enough to actually get into the site from there. So looks like Maryland will have to open their horizon to something new. Helson just got down through the door barricade. He was probably not expecting that. Now finished off by Jalen. Mary might be thinking about maybe hopping into the bomb site. There's a good kill on a TP. He was not expecting someone over by a highway window. So that's now going to grant the advantage here for the offensive side. And now the pulse gets located in through lounge. So the jig is kind of up for Bean Boozle. He might not get as lucky with that nitro cell placement. He might not even find a kill from that position, period. And now with one player off site, maybe Maryland could execute and play up the fact they have a 2v4 if they play their cards right. But still, there's good potential for Bean to still be active in this round, whether it is through that nitro cell or a well-timed flank.
Well, 25 seconds left. The smokes are being deployed, and that seems to be Maryland's specialty. A plant will be attempted any second now. There we go. The play from below, though, the C4 will take out the planter. Jalen with one of his own, but it's just a second too late. 15 seconds left. One attacker above, one below. Can they make this work? A plant is being attempted once again, but Mad Gamer Man will be walking up those rest there. Salami with one. Make that two. The plant not attempted, and the Jaeger will clean it off. And, well, there we go. Finally, the boys actually are back.
I don't really know what to think about that round, because Maryland were completely aware that there's a pulse underneath.
You don't think.
You're right. I just look good on camera. That's up for debate. Some might consider otherwise.
True.
But
True.
SUNY, or I should go back to Maryland before I talk about the Wildcats. Sorry. Maryland were fully aware that Bean Boozle's on pulse because Thermite died to him in the first 10 seconds, and they know he's in the first floor. Yet, instead of trying to either plant somewhere new or wait for the Amaru to kill the pulse before planting, they do it at the same time. Maybe to bait Bean Boozle to have his gun down and he's in the middle of throwing a C4. But that's still really risky, because you'll just see what happened in that round where Bean Boozle still kills the planter, and now the dynamic completely changes for Maryland. Instead of Amar maybe being able to lurk up red to kill a guy either in cash or top red, now they've got to rotate back to Raptors to cover his teammate, who was originally the guy covering the person who died of that C4. You see where I'm getting at with this? I'm assuming you do, Matt, but chat probably will now realize that as well. It causes more challenges in the late round when you're already short on time and resources. I think overall that was a small mistake that just led into a domino effect of even worse outcomes than what you were expecting. And if Maryland had just either planted somewhere that wasn't default, like you plant in the corner closer to red since no one was playing there, or you wait for your Amaru to confirm kill Bean, that could have been a win for Maryland. And that could have been an opening kill for Bean Boozle, but unfortunately, he does not hit that headshot, so Free Hugs will be a little terrified, be a little shocked about that engagement, but they're still alive and okay.
Wait, was that drone just deployed by Free Hugs, or was there a drone watching the spawn peak window but no one actually checked it? Because that could have been a major oversight. Regardless, though, Bean Boozle makes it back above into logistics, going to be holding the verticals for just a little bit. And again, if Maryland don't put into drone work, this could be fatal for them. It's such a common spot to play, yet people tend to miss it all the time. The whole setup from Poly seems to be quite spread out. You have one person playing on Logi, you have one person playing up in Garage, and then I think there's two, if maybe not three people on site. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, there's only a couple, I believe.
So fallback game, super important, right? Like, if Loyola, Maryland read into this, if they just flood the side, which they have been known to do, for example, their first attacking round on border, it could be very hard to retake for Poly. But we're still a long way from that. Still 100 seconds in this round to be played out. The holes above have been spotted, but Capcan hasn't been there in a while, so Fuse is just watching nothing at the moment. I wish you'd drone up Logi, see that it's clear, and then you'd move on to other things, but, well, he did just that, sans the actual droning. So, there's that.
They've got Jalen working their way from pool table. I don't know what enables that bug with the 2x scope, but God, is it annoying. You say you learn something new every day. Well, you find a new bug on R6 every day because that's how good the game's been developed. And now you've got Maryland trying to work somewhat of a vertical presence, at least trying to force back people from the deep area of Arsenal Room. But, oh, there's the flank by Bean Boozle. That's Case. Thankfully, the Habana's there to trade. Marry a good shot onto that Capcan. Still playing by top secret. And it looks like Jalen has a bit of info that there's still someone by Logi, probably because Salami was shooting a couple of pop shots on the Fuse to confirm that kill. Actually, no. It was just superstition by the Dokkaebi. They had no clue that the Orc was up above. Thankfully, they have enough health to Remadash through that rotation and not be downed in the process, as you do lose health when using that primary gadget on the Oryx. So it's still that 4-on-4, but like you mentioned, the site presence definitely a lot weaker than retrospect would probably envision. There go the Candles to blast off too. Hugs a good rotate down dirt. The defense has no clue about this. A double kill for the Fuse, and a retake needs to go down by Zalami. He spots the Fuse. A good kill done by the Oryx, but still, there's no sight control in Arsenal, and there's the cutoff by Jalen. A smoke to obscure the defender's vision. Down goes the Jaeger. This long angle just being so good for the Dokkaebi wielding that DMR. And Salami Mami, sure, they're in the bomb site, but again, the crossfire, it's still there, and the site presence is just as tough. Maryland, they clap back with a well-needed round win and continue that momentum as if nothing happened on CCTV.
Honestly, exactly what I've been looking for. Such a clean round. I do wish that Maryland would have read into the whole defense being spread out so thin a little bit sooner and flooded aside with the Fuse with the Ying earlier, but it still ended up working really, really nicely for them. So there's that. The only thing that I want to criticize Maryland on is that Fuse looking at the vertical holes from Logi for 2 minutes while placing the cluster charges, not just running out to confirm, rather, it was clear for a very long time. And, you know, just being kind of splitting his attention between two totally different angles and two different floors just because no one wanted to drone that out. And if they had a drone up above in Logi, they would have seen the push from above when it actually came. So there's that. Other than that, great push.
A reattempt now by the Wildcats. They have a Caveira now deployed on the field. And I think that's because Maryland were, I suppose, pretty laid back about the existence of that roam. So what the Wildcats are hoping for is that that happens again. Maryland kind of ignore that top floor for the most part of that round. And then when you have the Wildcats try to play back in the first floor, they play for a bit of a retake. That becomes a very volatile response, and they could maybe get a couple kills before Maryland truly set up for that execute. I don't think that's a bad idea. It is just relying off the fact that Maryland make a boatload of mistakes, which usually doesn't end well if you're relying on those kind of strats on any kind of map, especially on a map like Clubhouse, where you can fix and reevaluate your positions a lot more effectively. That looks like a, I don't even know what to call that. That's like a amalgamation of like a Blackbeard shield and like a bunch of two-time reticle optics. That is incredibly trippy. And yeah, I talked about the mistakes of the Wildcats not droning the top floor, and now they already know where Caveira is. Different.
If we 3D print the thing that we just saw on our screen, I'm pretty sure we could sell it for millions as modern art. That's all I'm saying. Like, we could be rich.
You might be onto something here, Matt. Like, I just gotta say.
Yeah, man, I'm telling you, we can work this out later on. But back to the round, 1 minute in so far, and no casualties as of yet. Although Caveira is very low on HP, like you've mentioned, got droned out. Oryx is there relatively, close to help her out, but he's not there just yet. Hellsent playing down below, being patient, being boozled in dirt as well. So again, I don't know, 2 people on site, 3 people kind of roaming. Well, make that 1 person roaming because Saints will get the entry.
And now you've got Game Man. The Mad Lad has fallen back down. A logic bomb to confirm if anyone's up above or not. So Maryland, a big sigh of relief that they've gotten that control in the top floor and can work their way lower. A second logi bomb, and wow, it nets Hugs a kill. Good coordination there with the info gathered by Jalen once again. And the fuse charges go off pretty much just nonchalantly. I mean, there's no one here to contest that fuse whatsoever. More info being gathered. Hellsent types out a question mark, a little perplexed as to how fast someone got down those stairs, most likely, and how he knew he was there. But again, there was good info. But lack of info on the Caveira. Mad Game Man, he gets one down. But there's someone still close by, another Logi Bomb for good measure, but Saint still gets confirmed. No one's in close proximity to that downed Ying, so it's a free kill for Mad Game Man. But again, you mentioned earlier, already tagged up, really low on HP, and for the most part, I think Maryland are just going to ignore the Caveira with the sound cue of those cluster charges. That might mask the movement by Hugs. That could maybe get him a free kill onto this guy stuck in Dirt Tunnel, and it does! Caveira gets finished off as well, and the Dirt Push works! Once again for Hugs, the coordination is top-notch from Maryland, and they are truly in their element on Clubhouse.
Yeah, really all for one coming out from Maryland there. You gotta hand it to them. They were kind of struggling on their attacks. They always started off well, and then it just kind of quickly fell apart for them on border. But again, that wasn't their map pick, and they still ended up putting it 7-4, if I'm not mistaken. So the fact that they're so dominant on attack on their map pick is making me think we may just be seeing two maps. But we'll see how it ends up going.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
For this map in particular, it's kind of the same storyline of border. Like, a lot of sites just kind of suck on this map, or a lot harder to defend than they were back in the day. It kind of makes that 50-50 dynamic. So 3 rounds for the offense is pretty standard. What isn't is them getting like 4 to 5. Round 2 was more or less a lose, not because of how well the Wildcats played on that round, which they did. They made a really good job of getting those opportunities to stop the plant from going down every single time, but Maryland could have denied at least one of those 2 options if they had just waited. I know it's really tough to be patient in specific timeframes of the round. Like, you have 30 seconds, you think there's denial for the plant, so you want to start forcing out that util before you get really strained on time. But sometimes that is the better call to make. And with Maryland not doing that and being a little discoordinate, that did allow SUNY to capitalize off that and get a round win, which was great for them. But Maryland, besides round 2, haven't given the Wildcats that luxury. And now CCTV is being attempted again, with a caveat that there is now a Mira in play. But with Twitch available, with vertical being as strong as it is on this map, if Maryland acknowledged the Mira's presence, they could deny that pretty swiftly.
We haven't seen much vertical play from either team here. On border, there was a bit, but here we've seen very little vertical play from what I remember. Sans that one, Logi round. But like you said, Twitch putting in massive work so far, so let's see how that goes. But Slime Mom is going to be the entry. Casualty is Jalen under Zofia, picks her up, and that's a start that, well, Poly really can't afford anymore. They're 2 rounds down, and it's not looking up for them, at least not for now, so I don't know. I don't know, man.
A lot of rounds really seem masked in confusion, especially for Wildcats, since they were keeping things pretty back and forth, all things considered on border, but now they really just seem out of position, out of element on some rounds too. Hugs almost gets walloped by the guy playing on the mirror window, currently probably fat-fingered his keyboard and just started spamming on his all chat.
Oh,
and there it is!
Go.
There's the Twitch drone! I called it! You can hard counter the mirror so well if you time it correctly, and there it is! Nobody expected the Twitch drone just to sink into sight. And there goes one of your main barriers to stop the execute into the site. And a major way SUNY won this site was with the help of that pulse, but that's a non-factor in this round. Maryland still have the man advantage. They still have good coordination on this attack, and they almost make it a 5-on-3. Truly, this looks to be a round win for them if they keep up this momentum, and now the Capcan gets down. It's technically speaking a 5-on-3, and now hard confirmed by Saint.
Well, it is, like you said, a 3v5. The defenders, they need to hold on for 50 seconds. That's the first one for Hellsent, and that's a start. Breaks the barricade, fires a little bit, but no one's there to catch those bullets. Getting quite aggressive there. I'm not sure if that's the play, especially as Jalen finds one onto Bean Boozled, and it's a 4v1. As Jalen finds the 3rd one on the round. Safe attempts to plant, but, well, it's not looking good for Hellsent. There will have to be an ace if he wants to salvage the round for Poly. The plant now down, giving him 40 seconds left to work with, and the only way that the attackers can throw this if they all funnel at the Hellsent, English hard.
Only goes for the run out here, but still there's no one highway. No one's even by CCTV to be that aggressive. I believe the only person there was behind the bomb chassis or near the rotate, near rafters. Yeah, now that Ying has moved once again, Nova now is actually on that rotate spot by highway. Almost kills the Malusi. A second swing for good measure. That does the job just fine. And Maryland, heading in round 6 now, one more win and they'll make it 5-1. That's really going to leave pretty much no room for error here for the Wildcats, and that is not good at all, especially when going on the attack. Although it's 50-50 sided, you still have to make a lot of good tempo for the offensive side, which SUNY have not been able to accomplish all too much in this game.
Well, Loyola really said what time it is. It's Loyola time, and they've been putting in massive work. Again, just such a huge improvement from how incohesive they seemed at times on attack on border. So either they just know and practice Clubhouse way more, or they've had a talk, between the games, even though they won map 1, and they were like, okay, guys, what can we improve? Let's reset. Let's work on our mistakes. And it's one of the two, or hopefully even both. But like you said, this could be a pretty short series. As Poly, they just keep failing to find their footing. Even if they get the entry, and even that doesn't happen very often, they fail to convert the man advantage to a round win. And I'm not sure what's going wrong for them, but they're just being picked apart one by one by one.
Now they're opting to go through Church, which for them has not been a sight won at all. They have gone here twice in a row, round 3 and 4, and both times Maryland won the exact same way. I wouldn't say the exact same, because round 3 they struggled a lot more with clearing out that roam, but eventually it was dealt with. And then they converge from both dirt and kitchen hatch, and then execute pretty fine, even having presence over by main stairs as well. So they haven't really had to change all too much in their gameplay. They've kept things pretty status quo, and okay. That's probably one of the faster entry kills we've seen this game. The only one to beat that has been Bean Boozle. Looks like he was trying to go 2 for 2 on world's fastest entry player, but now he's the person to die in that position. But worst case scenario, that was probably it. Maybe Hellsent dies as well. At least Bean Boozle's put down all their Capcan traps, so maybe he gets a revenge kill while already dead. But if the offense already knows where Hellsent is, that could be major. But they're not aware of him, so Hellsent does get 1 kill in the Jalen. The Dokkaebi now gone, and now Maryland have to refocus their attention back on that top.
Bean Boozle really said, I want it all, and it ended up costing him the world with that spawn peak. I don't know, when you're 3 rounds down and a whole map down, I don't think you can afford to go for those spawn peaks. It's just way too risky, especially if you've attempted it before. But, I mean, to each his own, I guess. Anyways, the cluster charge is being deployed, and it seems like it's shaping up to be another dirt push, maybe later on in the round, not just yet. At least that's what Loyola usually do. They open dirt up, and then they push it a bit later on, when Poly divert their attention to either Blue or Church or wherever else they're pushing from. But we're just past the halfway marker. It is 4v4, so this is as good a round as any for Poly to actually pull back at least 1 round, diminish Maryland's lead, and, make it more than 1 round for them on Clubhouse.
70 seconds left now for Maryland. Still taking their sweet time. Can't really fault them for that. They've got plenty of drones. All their players alive have all their drones available to them. Just need to wait and deploy them. There goes Hugs being injured. Finally, for the Wildcats, they expect that dirt play. TP's not going to get caught off guard in that position. So Maryland are strictly down on players, and now that they've lost one of their main facets of attack, this could actually be a win here for the Wildcats. Let's hope they keep up this good momentum.
Well, seems like they finally breaking free, but let's see if they can actually bob to the top this time around. Looks like maybe it's not gonna happen, though, at least not as easily as they may have thought, as Nova takes off Salami Mami, and we're back on an even footing. Nope! There we go, Noah with the second, TP falls as well, looking for a third with the F2. Now Malusi's creeping back to side, leaving only 1 defender on spawn, but there we go, the Ying is ready. Saint also gets Hellsent, and it's all up to the 2-4 Jaeger of Mad Gamerman 12. Or Game Man, excuse me, to try and keep Sunny Poly afloat. The plan is being attempted by the Twitch, and the canals are being yeeted out, so it's not looking very likely. Mad Gamer Man is, in fact, flashed. Also, a few smokes being deployed, but you gotta go for those 1v1s right now, my man, if you want to take it. Oh. Nope. That's 4, if I'm not mistaken. At least 3 for Nova, maybe 4. Nice shots with the F2. Clean. Very cool.
And how poetic is it too, Matt, that Saint is the one who kills the Hell Sent? That is just, you can't even like make that up. The script just writes itself. Yeah, I'm not going to forget the small attention to details there. Overall, you know, I'm not really one who is too fond on dancing. I don't really dance, Matt, but that did look like a complete just, I don't even know what to describe it as. I guess just flat out dancing between the map, really. You had all of Maryland at one point on the top floor, and then they realized, you know what? This roam clear is not working out. Let's just walk down blue and just see what happens. I'll tell you what happened. It nets Nova 3 separate kills on that round, 2 from blue itself. And now you got the Wildcats who are the ones trying to dance back their way to site. There's cutoff angles held by the Yings, still waiting around near bathroom, good for 1 kill. And then that's over and done with Maryland. They almost get a full cycle of 6-round wins, but it actually is cut short down to 5. But like I had mentioned earlier, you really can still win 2 rounds pretty easily on the defensive half. So Maryland, so long as they just keep things, you know, usual as ever, keep things default on the map of Clubhouse, they should be coming home today with a pretty straightforward 2-0 win against SUNY.
Yeah, definitely a night to remember for Loyola, Maryland, if they can keep their stride and just like you said, win those 2 remaining rounds. That's not much considering SUNY Poly need to win 5 more to even push overtime and 6 more to win this in regulation. So, can they do it? Honestly, not likely. I've been calling, you know what? I've been calling Loyola my favorites today, and you were like, stop with the out-of-pocket predictions, but for once I was right. So, there's that. Hey, choke on that.
Well, if you're going to make me, I mean, I guess I have to at this point. Anyways, Wildcats being forced into a lot of other different things, as in, like you mentioned, winning 6 rounds to win the game in regulation, and 5 to, at the very least, get that match point moniker. And all things considered, that probably will not happen in a row. I really wonder where Mad Game Man's sitting at currently, because he's on the Cali. Is he all the way in the back of like that little like balcony / bridge spot? Yes, he is. I see him. Thank you, Max. He's still there in spawn. He's looking down range with that 12 timer. I mean, with the plat wall opened up, this guy can hold a very menacing crossfire, but he's got to hit those shots. You know, it's 1 bullet in the chamber, then you got to rack it back with that big bolt action. And oh wow!
Speaking of,
free hugs. Hello. Didn't see you there. Clearly, TP didn't either because he's dead to rights.
Yep. Well, it's just funny that you were talking about, you know, having 1 shot and then having to rack it up and then a shotgun kill happens. Kind of works the same way. But regardless, yeah. Slime Mommy just creeping up those stairs or blue stairs, whatever you want to call them. Trying to catch someone off guard, but no one's playing there just yet. Saint with a nice impact. Takes off 60 HP off of Hellsend. What a Kobe that was. But Hellsend's not looking for any more as the Kali's still covering the doors, hoping that someone is tempted to swing out. Oh, a few shots just narrowly missed the head of Rook, and Saint now has another chance given it life. Can he make something out of it? There we go, ready for the swing, misses narrowly as well. 55 seconds left, and everyone is just missing their shots. But there we go, Noah gets 1, Saint with another one. It's a 2v5 currently, as Loyola Maryland just look unstoppable at the moment.
Oh, that was a tragic attempt at clearing out Rafters. The coordination or lack thereof just was the make or break there for the Wildcats. If they had been a little bit more effective with talking about getting the player from bottom garage to help the guy coming in garage door, that could have been done a little more effectively. Rook has no util with him there. No ADSs, no magnets, no player to assist. He's there by himself. He is strictly there to find kills and then die. But he's still alive to tell the tale of how he got away with robbery, essentially, finding 2 kills, I think, on this round so far. Now you got the player outside of Game Man, who was all the way in the back of Timbuktu, having to get aggressive. He meets the same fate as his Thermite, and Salami Mommy is stuck bottom lounge. There's Shamika launchers to deny them of walking up red, and it's too far of a distance to clear from Rafters or Plat Wall. So by default, the timer fizzles away, and Maryland strike the bell at match point.
Yeah, I honestly think SUNY Poly's hopes are just, you know, hopes and dreams at this point. I honestly see no realistic chance of them bringing it back. And, you know, I still may eat my words. They may surprise me, win 5 in a row to take it to overtime and then 3 more in overtime. But honestly, how likely is that to happen?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. The game I just came back from casting. I filled in and did like a one mapper for some buddies since they were still setting up. The score was like 6-2 match point, and the team that was down 6-2, like who was at the deficit, they came all the way back, brought it to double overtime, and won 8-7 on map wall. So I've seen exact positions like this won by the underdog team, quote unquote. So maybe the Wildcats got some fuel left in the tank, but it doesn't look like it. That's the sad part. They really look like they are not prepared to be playing on a map like Clubhouse, and that Maryland are just simply the better team on this map. Sure, border was incredibly close, like I mentioned, but this does seem like an unwavering environment here for the Wildcats. And now they're bringing up lineups that aren't really too unorthodox, but definitely interesting. You've got the Ying once again by TP, who has normally been running Jackal, but is now opting for something a little more explosive. And now you've got Game Man, who is on the Osa, which, if used correctly, that can actually be a really fatal force to make sure that Maryland are not going to be just swinging gunfights just openly. They're going to be punished if they try opting for that with no information. But that's if the Wildcats can set up those Kendalls. That's if they can set up those Talon shields properly. The proof is really all in the pudding here, and that's if SUNY Poly can actually even bring out the the pudding pops to actually get that done.
John?
Yes?
Would you say it's fair to say that the Wildcats are just out of their natural habitat here on Clubhouse?
Yeah, I guess they weren't used to the terrain here. Now they're getting poached.
Well, it definitely seems like that. Osa behind the impromptu shield there, just kind of scouting out the area while the Ying is eating the Candelas through the holes in Logi, making sure no one can push through. And Mute is going to be the first point of contention, holding the crossfire along with both the Jaeger and the sorry, got blurry for me for a second. Anyway, Saint takes almost fatal damage, just a few points of HP holding him up for now, but Beam Boozle takes a lot in return, so we're on a equal-ish footing. C4 comes out, doesn't connect though, and that was a huge waste, honestly, but the exothermic charge gets deployed and the jacuzzi wall is about to be open any second. Ding drops down, goes for the swing as Tindelas are deployed, but doesn't find any. Shut down by Mary, popping his shotgun off. What a kill. And, well, I think this is all short for Poly.
Yeah, this is not a good attack by the Wildcats. I'm going to be the first to admit it. They didn't clear out from CC. They didn't open the highway barricade. They didn't go into cache. They just all funneled in the construction room and then jacuzzi wall. And they're just outside. Like, Salami Mommy now, with a minute left, is trying to breach open the garage, or the plat wall, sorry, and maybe go up garage door. Nova nets a kill as well, and at this point, they know someone's probably by plat, and there it is. Wow, beautiful shot.
Finally,
Mommy, yeah, finally gets a kill. But look at the timer, Matt. Look at the player count, Matt. It's so statistically unlikely that the Wildcats win this round. I think I'd have a better shot at getting pregnant. I'm just going to be the first one to say it, Matt. I don't think they're going to take this one.
Never say never. You just invited me for a High School Musical watch party.
Oh my god, there's a mute jammer near the castle barricade. That's why they can't open it. They got to go highway. Oh, that is so unlucky for the Wildcats. They're on the outside looking in, literally and figuratively. And they're spending more and more time just trying to put proxy pressure down, phantom pressure if you call it. Good kill for Bean Boozle, but swiftly traded because there's no one Logi. So Free Hugs gets a good kill onto that Thermite. Case has now been dropped to the floor, and Free Hugs gets the last one as well. I'm going to just spread some knowledge real quick. So I'm going to talk long here, Matt. You can, get some powder on your face. Take a swig of water or tea, make yourself look good. When you are attacking gym and bedroom, usually you start from one of the two parts of the map and then rotate late round to get the other part opened up. So let's say they're extending into cache and you want to clear that out. You start garage, you go plat wall, and you push in from there. Then you get the wall and cache opened up. If there's someone top red, you clear that out with util, maybe get someone on the first floor. And then once that presence is gone, you then begin to work about, Logi, for example. You worry about construction. And then while that's going on, by that time, you're going to need less players in that part of the map. At that point, you're just funneling and wasting people's time. So then you make them rotate over to Jacuzzi. And instead what happened is you have a guy basically just, I don't know. I don't even know what their fifth player was doing at that point. But you had two guys going into con single wall. I think he was on the roof just droning or something because he didn't even get Logi hatch opened up till late round. So you got two guys con single wall, but there's nothing opened up by highway or cache. So you're funneling into a crossfire. And then you got the other two guys opening up jacuzzi wall, which, yeah, that's great, but you have to enter into another crossfire, and there's no one highway, so you can't even deal with the person by weight room / gym. So that accomplished nothing for the Wildcats. And I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just letting them know what they need to do next time they attack on that map, because Clubhouse is a very frequently played map. So unless you're banning that map 24/7, then you got to learn how to attack better on that map in particular. So I hope that helps. And to Maryland, wow, you really did a good job on Clubhouse. There's no better way to put it. You almost went flawless. If you had done better on that second execute on CCTV, you would have went flawless, which is impressive. And hopefully for Wildcat, this was a good learning experience for them, because that was not a good showing by them whatsoever, except for on Border. That game was a lot closer and a lot better by them.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can't just discredit Wildcats. They had a few very bright individual moments, but it just didn't amount up to enough to, take on, words hard, Loyola. It happens, man. It's 4:30 a.m. Okay, I gotta be somewhere in 4 hours. I'm gonna get 3 hours of sleep. But regardless, we're searching for an interview. We're gonna go for a quick break, and then if we get someone to interview, we'll be back. So don't go anywhere.
Massive skill. So it helps build those things while they're off the field. And then for us, vice versa, if you're an esports athlete, one of the errors I had growing up when I was competing in esports is that I was not active enough. I played sports, I competed a little bit, but I wasn't active enough truly when I look at it. So that's one area that esports players can learn from in terms of activity and physical and the marrying of both. People say, oh, sports and esports, video games. Not really. We're just kind of the tech industry's competitive form of competition, as to where traditional sports are more physical, hands-on. So I believe in the marrying of these two sectors and that they actually live together while also being counterparts.
Well, I think then to speak to something about marrying, right, from traditional to esports, that to me speaks to this whole new thing, at least again from you guys, right? You guys have more traditional sports background, right? Paul, Lee, Mike, and all of that. But I think let's talk NIL then, because I think that's something that I think is really interesting, that at least when I heard about it, right, of what we're trying to do with, esports athletes, schools, programs in general, because it wasn't something you would think normally, right? You could understand, right, football player on the field, star quarterback, it makes sense, right? The guy is somebody that everybody knows on campus, whether you're on the team, off the team, or you're just going to the school, it makes sense. But I think, nowadays it's not as common, or people don't think that they could be somebody that their name is out there, right? Or that they're known, right? As we're growing this space, as we're putting this together, it almost feels really interesting that, your star entry in Valorant, or your star forward on Rocket League, right? Whatever the case might be, now they can have NIL deals. It's a thing out there. And I think, I don't know, maybe Mike, you want to start off? But
I think, thank you for teeing that up. So I was talking for too long. I forgot to bring NIL into the mix. So it's a common occurrence, occupational hazard. So I would say that, so NIL for I'm sure most of you watching understand what it is, but NIL stands for name, image, and likeness. Name, image, and likeness, that term has been utilized to describe the transition of traditional student athletes, NCAA athletes, and their ability to monetize their name, image, and likeness. It went live July 1st, 2021, and it has continued over the course of the last nearly 14 months now. It's an interesting term because it's been co-opted to describe the NCAA's approach to student athletes being able to make endorsement money or be able to monetize any part of their name, image, and likeness. But it's been around forever, right? We've had athletes endorsing brands for over 100 years. Babe Ruth of the New York Yankees was endorsing brands 100 years ago, and it has continued onward from baseball cards all the way through now, where we have lots of different integrations of how influencers can monetize their followings. So what I would say on the traditional side is it's still a very young space. There are a lot of stories out there regarding NIL that tend to focus on the negative, or how out of control, I put in air quotes, it has gotten. But there is still a burgeoning marketplace for many more student athletes that are involved. About 17% of NCAA athletes are currently involved in NIL, but 65% more than that want to get involved and are curious how to get started. on the flip side, brands are challenged with a few different things in the space. There are 10,000 professional athletes in the United States. Once July 1st, 2021 hit, and you dump every NCAA athlete into that space, that's another 500,000. So brands that maybe didn't have a dedicated athlete strategy when there were 10,000 now have 500,000 plus that 10,000 to figure out how to activate who they are. That's a lot. I understand brands' hesitancy in some instances, but I can tell you that companies like us are on a daily basis educating brands and student athletes as to the software you can use, the types of activations you can get involved in, and how to utilize your followings, or if you don't have to or want to be a social media star, are there ways in which you can monetize it? Now, I know I described that under the umbrella of the NCAA, but I see it as being no different in esports. I think there are massive opportunities for people with followings to be able to use that and connect with brands. I think a company like us can help you to do that. And then beyond that, we can make sure that those transactions are safe for you. I think there are opportunities, not just at the individual competitor level, but at the program level to have a sponsorship go to that. I'm sure some of you out there listening and watching already have deals like that in place, but I think we can continue to enhance, augment those deals and make them more comprehensive and make them, first of all, I think product deals are perfectly fine, but I think we can get beyond that and grow some of these deals to a greater extent. Paulie, thoughts on that?
Yeah, what you said is right. So I'll put it in for layman's terms here for just the esports players, because I talk to so many of our athletes that compete in our CECC series that are currently still in college. And basically when Mike Blewett says NIL, what he's referring to is just very simple. If a brand or any sort of anyone wants to use your school's name or your brand or anything with you, there is a deal for you that can be put in place, whether it's product deal, whether it's a paid endorsement. You can, whether you're a macro influencer or whether you're a micro influencer, you can be paid for your services. So most of the people, when I talk to them, most of the, I won't say people, college athletes, they are, intimidated by the word. They don't really know what it means. They've never done anything with it before. And that's what it means. Any single time a brand or anyone at all wants to use your name or do a deal with you or do some sort of activation with you or your school, that's basically what the layman's terms, the NIL meaning comes from. And it's evolving in this space. There are so many brands that want to associate with micro and macro influencers and just get people involved with their products or their services. So all of you, collegiate athletes out there that are competing in esports, not only are we trying to broker those deals, but also keep your eyes, ears open, and don't be shy or scared to take these deals, because that's what I've heard the most, is that most of the time they're just scared to take them. They don't know what they are. They don't know if they're locking themselves into some agreement or terms that they're like going to give their name away or something too. So this is a really important space, and it's how you're all going to physically make money and build your brands along with company brands. So it's really important to learn. And my advice is to just get your feet wet. Don't worry about shying away. Read the contracts and take some of these deals, because growing your own brand is the future of what our industry is going to be, in my opinion.
Exactly. And if you follow in the pro space, you'll see that the pro teams are not only focusing on competitive play, but a lot of them are focusing on their.
After a very decisive map number 2, we're going to get the luxury and privilege of getting one of the players on the side of Maryland up here for an interview. We've got Mary popping off. How fitting for the team name of Maryland, after all, aka Matt for short, his actual name. Matt, how are you feeling after that win, man? Congrats on the dub today.
Thank you. I'm feeling pretty good, and so is the rest of our team.
That's good. So starting out with the first question I have to ask, I think I've mentioned this to a couple of people in collegiate. What is your guys' overall experience with the 3 new maps, Border, Skyscraper, Theme Park? How comfortable are you guys on those maps more specifically? And especially on Border, since you guys went to that map, had a couple of rough patches, but in the end still won in map number 1.
So we're kind of a new team.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say kind of, I mean, literally mean 4 or 5 weeks old.
Okay.
So this is our first semester as a team. We've been trying to get everything set up for a while. So comfortability wise, I say we're putting stuff together and scrimming, saving it works. Border is really, I think, strat heavy map in my opinion. So that's one of the maps we worked on as well. We're going to be in the future working on the skyscraper and the other one, forget its name. Theme park, yeah. We did a scrim on it, and we did pretty well. So, and I'm based off of it tonight. I'm pretty confident on our ability to go into maps and use the things we came up with to our advantage.
All right, fair enough, Boxy.
Yeah, sorry, excuse me. So, after winning Border, which wasn't your map pick, it was your opponent's map pick, and then you were going on to Clubhouse, which you choose to play. Did you know it was going to go as smooth and as well as it did, or were you still having doubts based off of Border being a little bit of a close game, even though the final score ended up being 7-4?
The first game, we were coming off the win, and going to Border, we were pretty confident. We had a strat, but it actually ended up not working. So we actually had to go to our back pocket and pulled out our strats for Clubhouse there. So I didn't think it would be a 7-1, but I'm pretty excited that it was.
All right. Well, I guess I will end out with the last question that I have in mind. In terms of competition, is there anyone that you're really focusing on who you might be expecting to be a bit of a challenge going into next week, or are you just kind of rolling with the punches, as they say?
We're kind of just going week by week,
Okay.
looking at the matchups and deciding like what maps we need, what operators, and we do a little bit of prep work through the ECAC website, just finding out like what we're dealing with and try to come up with some strats around that.
All right. Well, so far you guys look to be pretty good for basically a month-old team. Most babies by then can't even walk or, cry enough most of the time. So you guys look to be doing pretty well so far. Hope you keep up that strong momentum, the good vibes, and to see you again, hopefully, in another interview if you keep it up. So have a good rest of your day, Matt, unless there's anyone you want to give a shout out before we sign you off.
Just my teammates. Like
All right.
They've been playing really well. Very impressed with our ability to compete at the collegiate level. It's better than what I could have ever hoped for.
Well, again, good on you guys for winning today, and hope to see you in another interview soon. Have a good day, Matt.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Well, other Matt, that concludes our interview with Matt on the side of Loyola Esports. From all of us here at Esports U, we thank you guys all for watching. We're going to sign off here for tonight and to see you all again throughout the rest of the week for more action over here with ECAC and the rest of Esports U, since we cover all sorts of games here. So if you're fans of games that aren't just R6, we've got plenty more in the tank for you. Have a good night, guys, and to see you all again very, very soon.
Their cultural importance in the space. And so, one of the things that we do also is help athletes build their brand, build their following. And that's part of what Paulie and Kyler are doing on their side when we do this behind the scenes training. And so, building your brand, this is the creator economy. Anybody and everybody can be anything they want to be. And so we just really want to be the conduit that supports that across the board.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. With that said, thank you everyone for great insights in terms of, for any of you that were watching this and maybe had questions about what is Esports U, what is CSMG, who are they, what are they doing, what are our plans, right? Well, we know we kind of tried to make a bigger splash in the spring, and we're excited to bring more stuff with you guys for the next year. But I think maybe as we close out here, I know we're slowly approaching on time then. But maybe let's go around the room with everyone here of just what's one thing that we're all excited for this next upcoming year. I know we touched on our plans and a lot of things, but if anyone had to speak, if you had to speak to just one thing of just what has you excited for us as a company, for us as the collegiate or college esports space, right? What's one thing that has all of you guys excited? And maybe we'll start with Mike, since our traditional sports guy, and we'll let Mike speak first.
Sure. So I would say many things on the traditional side, but I'll focus on esports. And I'd say the thing that I'm most excited about going forward is after yet another year of us doing a round of events, I'm excited that more schools will understand exactly what we're doing with our regional events and culminating in CECC and getting more schools involved. I think schools will be more excited to compete in our events because we've established it over the course of a year, and I welcome any and all conversations with getting people involved.
I think for me, I'm most excited about like the schools and conferences, Mike. That's amazing. And that's so exciting. I'm also excited about the brands that we're starting to be able to get involved in this. In our Commissioner's Cup in last May, we had over 14 brands, blue chip brands participating in our event. Barbasol, Microsoft, CDW, Morgan Stanley, New Street, Air Force. And so I think brands are really starting to get excited about being involved in college esports, and we're offering them a platform that not only gives them, a big event, a big yearly event, but also regular daily programming where they can have exposure in front of this audience that they want to build affinity for with their brand. So I'm super excited about seeing the brands get on board and help grow the space along with us. A rising tide lifts all boats. And I think that's probably one of our mottos here at CSMG and Esports U. We're growing our brand, but at the same time, we're also really growing the college esports space as a whole. And that's our goal, for it to be a healthy ecosystem for all parties involved.
Yeah, I agree there. And I guess for me, obviously always, seeing the collegiate esports space elevate, coming from competing, this didn't exist when I was competing. And just to see it now in literally within the last 5 years, probably really come to fruition and start just blossomed out of nowhere, and now becoming a space and seeing everyone, schools, players, productions, companies all elevate together has been really, really nice to see. But if I was the most excited for one thing, it would probably be the city where we're going to land for CC23. I'm really excited to know where we're going to be. There's a lot of great cities. I mean, I personally would love for it to come to New York, despite whether we got a positive bid or not. I want it to come to New York, but I just think the atmosphere in New York when you throw an event here is just super magical, especially in the summertime. But either way, I'm really excited to see where it lands. Tons of great cities, tons of great opportunities, and yeah, who knows? And I think that's going to be the most exciting process for me.
Absolutely. I won't speak to anything. I think I'm filling Paulie's job in this one because Paulie's more a panelist than this one. So, normally Paulie's the host, and I don't know. I think me personally, I'll just say something real quick. I'm just excited to keep telling your stories. If you're a student, if you're a program, let me know. Let us, reach out to us. We just ultimately, at the end of the day, we want to tell your story. And I think that's what has me most excited, because now I think we're getting to a point where people know us. I hope you guys trust us, and and we just want to keep expanding and growing the space. So with that, Paulie, I won't make you do the weird thing where you got to toss to yourself, unless you want to do that. I don't know. Actually, you might have a funny way of doing this. All right. Let's test it. Yeah. Okay.
All right,
How do you want to throw yourself here?
Well, that's going to conclude here the future of collegiate with CSMG and Esports U. Thank you so much to Angela, Mike Blewett, and Kyler Tandle for hosting our panel. And now back to myself for the day 3 of the CSMG Coaches and Director Summit 2022.
My name is Jacob. I'm 21, and it's my first year in this school. I already been to community college for the last 2 years, but I transferred here. It's a whole new program.